All right, I think we're good. We're live. What's up? Back for another Juices Loose podcast. And Tuprell's gonna be a little late, but we're just gonna get started here. And we got everybody. I guess we can, since there's not like a whole lot of news, I guess we could go back to the what you've been playing lately. So let's start with Robert. I see you got a Code Veronica Dreamcast disc sitting there.
Yeah. I haven't played that, but yeah, I don't have a Dreamcast yet. Well, one of these days. I was thinking about buying teeth, but I just
Oh
it
yeah,
didn't
did you
happen.
ever like check it out or?
It didn't happen. Yeah, I saw it once, and then also I was gonna just buy it straight out, but then I saw it at the bid, and then I just it didn't bid. But, so I apologize, sorry.
Oh, it's all right. It's sold for pretty decent. Good.
Oh yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And then well, what I've actually been playing though, let me think. A lot of games I play in this time span. In the past week, I've played. Let's see, I can't say one of them, although I'm sure you guys will love to hear all my thoughts on one of them. It's a backlog game. And then I played. I've been playing Doom Eternal, and I'm like almost halfway through Doom Eternal. I think halfway
Yeah,
at
I
least.
thought I was halfway
And
through at one point, and I was about a quarter of the way through.
yeah,
Yeah.
why? That's a intense game. It's intense. There's a lot of times where you have just a lot of the game. Is a lot of this arenas, and you're just it's just fucking waves. And while I enjoy that, it can get quite frustrating when you're like you're like on the last few enemies, then you just die and you're like, oh my god, I gotta restart that. Oh my god, no. Like, god damn it. And it's a lot of fun though. Like, it's just everything is intense. Opening doors, everything is just
There's a lot of
Demon Slayer is not.
exploration though after the fighting too. You
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Well, that's the thing, is that there's also a lot of cool platforming. Like, he genuinely feels the control to control Doomslayer feels great. And then what else was I playing? Oh, I played a little bit actually of Rabbits Go Home. So I played a little bit of Rabbits Go Home. I was enjoying that. I played a few levels because I was playing something. And so I went to I changed to Rabbits for a little bit. So I'm like, I got the Wii U on anyway. Let me try it. I haven't played Rabbits in a while, so I played a few levels, and what a fun game. That is just pure gaming bliss, dude. Just excitement. It's hilarious, and the music is so good and funny. Also, they always have like these intercoms overhead. They're just saying really funny stuff. Then I've been playing Odyssey a lot. I've been trying to, because I want 100% Odyssey, but I started a whole other save file for Odyssey, and honestly, no joke, I literally just play like a few moons a day. I just been playing a few moons, and that's really quick. It's literally like it's
Well,
like
yeah, I
five
mean, you
minutes.
can
I
find two
collected three
moons
moons.
in within
Yeah,
seconds.
Exactly.
quick
Oh,
and
exactly.
boring, I
Literally.
guess.
So I'm
Uh,
wondering, there's only showing 6 people watching right now. I'm guessing a couple of them are you guys. Did it come up for you guys? Because I had trouble finding my own link to.
I had to go to your channel.
So it didn't
I
come.
had to
It
go
didn't.
to your channel as well,
Damn.
and the video looked like it was broken as well.
Oh, I just shared it, so
Oh.
maybe it'll help. But I don't know.
I don't know. Remember, it
see.
did this a while back where it wasn't popping up for
And that was
people's
very
notifications.
frustrating. Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
see. Oh no, it's on my feed. It's on my subscription feed.
let me share
Yeah, it's
it
in
out
my
for you guys
feed.
because
Yeah,
I had
it's in
trouble
my feed.
finding my own link. Let me.
So
I
it
have
is
to go
now.
to
Now
your
it's gone
channel.
live, but it just
Yeah.
wasn't there before.
Yeah, because usually I can
Also,
just find it in go to my videos and it's right there to click on to get the chat. But anyway,
uh,
Robert,
I'll say I
continue.
was also playing. Obviously, of course, every day I play some Animal Crossing New Horizons, and and the Halloween stuff is awesome. I just like all these DIYs and stuff. It's great. I love that game so much. And then I played a little bit. I played a star. I played like literally one star of Super Mario Galaxy. Again, I was on the Wii, so I just kind of put in a few games real quick, and I played a few quick little things. And for Galaxy, I was like, let's see how trash it looks compared to 3D All Stars. And I mean, come on, man, the game was gorgeous. I can't help it. Like, it to me, it's like, when I'm playing with the Wii remote, and I'm just like, nah, I can't, I can't get 3D All Stars. I just can't. And then that Wii remote just perfect. It feels like just that. I wish we could go back to Wii remote and nunchuck. I love that setup. And then I played also a little bit. I played like again a few levels of New Super Mario Brothers Wii. I was like, how is this game? Played a little bit of that, and so I dipped in a little bit of things. But the main games I was playing was Doom Eternal Animal Crossing, Some Among Us, and then a game that I can't say.
It's not Cameo.
well, that game I already beat. Cameo
Okay.
I beat it a while ago, but yeah.
All right. I was wondering if it was. It must be
Elements
the
of
next,
Power?
the next one.
Well,
All right.
it is the next one.
So, Clocked It, you been playing anything?
Yeah, I've been back hard on Animal Crossing as well. Just really trying to get all the Halloween stuff. Built myself a nice bamboo garden, which I was very proud of. I'll show it off soon. But yeah, I've been playing my GameCube quite a bit. I've nearly completed Tomb Raider Legend again. I've been posting screenshots as you've seen. I also started Skies of Arcadia Legends.
Hell yeah.
And then I also started jumping on Lord of the Rings: The Third Age on a GameCube as well. But yeah, the main game we've been back on is Borderlands 3, which I've been playing with Retro.
Hell
online,
yeah.
doing some Vault hunting, which has been it's been good going back to that game. Had a bit of a break from it, but I'm getting back into it, and there's Halloween stuff on there we've been doing as well. So yeah, man, it's been busy.
Nice.
And spooky, yo.
How about you, Ms. T?
Halloween stuff.
Yeah, so I've been restarting shit too. I don't know if you guys saw my tweet. I'm sure some of you did about the other weekend being was it last weekend? Being a Wii and Wii U kind of Saturday or whatever. So I was playing like Rygar, really good game. I restarted Fragile Dreams. I'm sure Retro likes that. I also started a new file for Skies of Arcadia Legends as well. So that's so that's super weird. And I've just been kind of playing a lot of NBA, and I'm trying to finish up Xenoblade 2. So, but I keep going back to NBA 2K20.
You make any progress on Xenoblade?
Yeah, I'm close. I'm like chapter 8 or something.
Have you made it to
Late chapter 8.
the tree or whatever?
No,
Okay.
not yet.
What the hell's that called? Terrell?
A great tree.
What? Oh, the
No, the
world
tree of
tree.
life.
The world tree.
Oh, the world tree. Yeah, the
World
world
Tree.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That's for me. That's when the game started going slightly downhill for me as far as like the.
That's chapter 9 and 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't enjoying going through those sections
So
and the
you're already
enemies we're
past the
fighting.
Past the chapter where it's all cutscenes essentially. I think it's like chapter 6. You walk, cutscene. You walk back, cutscene. You walk back. We gotta go to sleep. Go walk back. Go to sleep. Come back.
Yeah.
And then,
That was insane. That was insane.
That was my biggest. Was like, is half this chapter cutscenes? What's going on there?
All right, Retro.
Overall, I still thought it was a great game.
You've been playing some Borderlands 3. I'm gonna guess. And Among
Yeah,
Us.
so it's kind of the same as like Robert and Club did a little bit. Animal Crossing a lot. Every day, since the game launched, there's literally only been one day where I didn't play Animal Crossing. At some Sunday, some shit. I
Pretty
was
much
sick, I
here,
don't
yo,
remember.
pretty much here.
But yeah, my island finally looks like it should. All this Halloween shit everywhere, which is never gonna leave my island again. It looks great. Yeah, Borderlands 3. Because I finished Spider-Man, I finished Days Gone, and I wanted to put another PlayStation 4 game on the list. And the only reason I stopped playing Borderlands 3 is simply because too much shit came out. So I dove head back into that shit. I was like, yo, Clocked It, man, I'm fucking playing Borderlands 3. Let's team up. And that same evening, we were like fucking blasting away and shit. It's amazing and hilarious. I just love that game. It's so beautiful. I love the music and shit. And it's one of the most satisfying game out to just reload your weapon because you never know how your weapon is going to reload. There's all these satisfying sound effects and that kind of shit. And apart from that, I've been actually playing quite a bit of Mario 35, which I'm thoroughly enjoying.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
Forgot about that.
it's so fun, Mario 35. It starts a bit slow, you know. You're just playing like the and everybody picks the first level, which is really fucking annoying. But it's like it goes on, and people start dying, and all of a sudden you have like 30 Lakitus on your screen, and like you open it, it's like so chaos. It's such great chaotic gameplay fun, and I just love it. It makes me feel like why would you remove this? It's just so good. Just build upon it. Don't remove it. It's really good.
I agree.
because Nintendo's good at updating things and keeping them going.
I got one win in Mario 35. I was very happy about that.
Yeah, I haven't even. I forgot
I haven't even
about
touched it yet.
I'd
fun.
probably
I'm
try
I'm so
it.
annoyed by the fact
I
that
need
it's
to, I
going
need to get
away.
into it.
It's proven as popular as Tetris. The battle royale and stuff in terms of.
It's a good idea. I just I had my Switch on. I didn't even think about it. Honestly, I would have played it if I would have thought of it. So I played 2 games. I played like only one night. I played Rocket League for a little bit, and then I turned on my Switch because I was filming something in my living room for a video collaboration I'm doing with a home theater channel, and I was like, you know what? I got the Switch on. Let me play something. So I played a little game. You might recognize this music. Some of you.
I don't hear anything.
There's no sound.
You don't hear that? Anyway, I guess it's not coming through my mic.
I heard it a
I heard,
little.
I heard, a- I heard a
I
little
forgot
bit,
that my
I'm
mic
like
is
Siri.
omnidirectional, and it doesn't. I have to
Kids
put it
don't
like right in front.
talking.
But
I heard someone talking.
I played about an hour plus of Breath of the Wild on my first save file, and just finding Korok seeds randomly. Just getting.
Oh, okay.
And I'm only at 370 Korok seeds on that. That's the most I have on any of my 3 playthroughs. And it's just weird because all the ones I found were because of the Korok mask, and they were all unique ones I hadn't done before. Technically just seeing something that doesn't fit with the rest is kind of a thing they do, but I was in the southwest, the little town on the water. Forget the name of the town. I was just freaking there too.
Near you.
Is that the tropical?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, the Korok mask is going off. I'm like, what the fuck? So I look up and there's 3 palm trees. And there's one that has an apple next to the 2 palm fruits. And I'm like, that's got to be something. So I shoot at it with an arrow and it moves, but it gets stuck on the palm fruit. So I have to climb all the way up there. As soon as I grab it, the damn Korok comes out. And I'm like, I would have never found that without the Korok mask. Like, I can't believe that was one. And then the other one was, I posted it on Twitter. I was like looking all around a stable and I'm like, what the hell? And then I zoom in and I was like, that horse has like a little goatee. Like, what the hell? So I jump towards it, and as I get closer, it looks like it's made out of dead leaves. So I hit it with a fire arrow and it burns, and then there's the Korok. And I was like, what the hell, man? How am I still finding things like new in this game? Like 325, 6 hours I think I have in the game.
Yeah.
And I found for the first time, I won't say captured, I forget what the term is, a full black stallion with black mane, black tail, everything. I never was able to get one before. And so it only took half my stamina wheel too. It was weird how quickly it went. And then I got rid of one of my older horses this is my first playthrough save file, so I don't even remember my attachment to the horse. I let go, and I was like, I finally got that. And then I probably got about maybe 10 Korok seeds just because, it was fun exploring, and battled some bokoblins and stuff, and it's just like this game, man. It just keeps on giving. And then today I stumbled across, I don't even know how. It was some dude's first time playing, and he just uploaded it 4 days ago. I didn't like that he's one of those guys that just got a Switch, and he hasn't played Nintendo like in years. Like, he says he's never played a Zelda game, and I was like, oh, whatever.
Filthy hounds.
Yeah, he also did reaction videos of the Smash trailers.
Yeah, I watched.
That's the gimmick of the channel on Xbox. PlayStation
But he has a lot
player.
of subscribers already before doing that. This is something he just started, which I'm guessing.
Yeah, he does anime reactions.
Trendy,
I already
it
knew
was
of him.
trendy. Steve was huge.
But-
Steve
Yeah.
in Smash was huge.
So I was all skeptical, but I was like, on my way to work, I was like, all right, I'll just listen to this guy. And it was pretty, I found it to be pretty endearing because he seemed genuinely like just joyful and like surprised by how good the game was. It didn't come across as fake or forced. It was just like, oh, obviously the power of this game. And it was cool to see him go through the plateau. And something I've said before is that if I could erase the memory of one game, it would be that one, so I could play it all over again and experience it for the first time again. So it's just kind of cool to see that that kind of people react to something that I love and seeing their first time playing through it. And so anyway, I only played those 2 games. Who do we got?
Over here.
Terrell left. I was trying to see if I wasn't sure if it was you or retro, but yeah, we already did retro. So
Yeah, you're retro. I think it was Pokemon. Finished Devil May Cry 1. That game is dated as fuck. It was just such a rough experience. Which is why I'm taking a break before I touch 2, because I'm not gonna want to do that one either. I've already heard
it in terms of controls and camera, though.
That camera pisses me off, and I hate that design and levels. Like, they reuse bosses. I think every boss is reused at least 2 or 3 times. And the way they make it harder is give you a cheap-ass arena to fight in, which on top of the camera controls makes the whole experience worse. Like, it's like, oh, I know how to beat the boss, but you put me in a corridor. So it's like, I feel like it's like arbitrary challenge, and it doesn't really, I don't feel rewarded to kill the same boss over. It's one of those things where, like, I looked at the game and went, I can see how there's a lot of potential here and why it kind of paved the way for that genre. But I'm like, how the fuck did you get a 3rd game, considering this game, to me, I understand that one was praised. The second game, from what I heard, is absolute dog shit, which I'm not looking forward to touching that one. I'm like, how the hell did you make it to a 3rd game? But I mean, I'll see. I'm gonna go through the entire series. I do like the combat. It's just that I hate.
Well, that was it pretty much. I mean, Devil May Cry 1 when it came out, I fucking loved it, and it was because you hadn't played an action game like that before.
Right.
Where you're smacking the enemies up in the air with your swords and then jumping up in the air, shooting them with your guns in the air as well. You've never played a game like that before, so I can completely understand going back to that fixed camera with that type of action and stuff.
And I don't even think the camera's a problem, because I know that camera essentially comes from its Resident Evil roots. I think in Resident Evil would make more sense because that game's way more slow paced. But in a game where you're constantly like jumping around and constantly doing different movements, it's like, oh, that is jarring.
I watched your last stream of it, and it doesn't seem to change the camera perspective as drastic as it can in Resident Evil. I maybe it does in different areas, but as far as the boss fight felt like it was a little bit more zoomed out, where it wasn't in Resident Evil. It can change like 3 times before, like in a single hallway, and to the point where, like, if you had an enemy there, if you step, like, let's say you got to back up, that you can see the enemy down the hallway, and you'll get to a point where you'll back up and it'll switch to the camera in front of you, so you can't see the zombie anymore. And I didn't watch enough of your Devil May Cry.
The camera in Resi is completely fixed. It's completely static. Whereas in Devil May Cry, it does follow you.
Okay.
So like what will happen is you'll start running, the camera will start shifting, and then the angle will switch on you while you're still walking. So the biggest issue I had is, like, if I'm holding right on the control stick, it'll go right all the way up until the camera shifts, and then I'm still going right for a little bit, and then it swaps directions.
Oh, that's completely different than Resident Evil then, because you just have to hold up on the D-pad the whole time.
No, it's for someone who hasn't played games like that, it was just kind of a rough experience in that sense. But like I said, the combat is fun as hell. It's just I hate dealing with the camera half the damn time. And then I also I went back and started playing Left 4 Dead because I never touched that game. So a friend bought it.
First or second one?
The second one.
Oh,
Also, because I think it recently had an update, and my friend was like, "Dude, we all need to get on Left 4 Dead." I said, "All right." That game,
recently had an update.
Yeah, it was so weird. But my friend was like, "Oh, we got to get on it," and so we got on it like yesterday, and that shit. I feel bad. I feel bad. I missed out on that game.
That game is so good. So
fun.
I was genuinely surprised how much I got into it. Yeah.
It's one of the best multiplayer I've ever played. It's just this.
It's addictive as fuck. I was like, wow, okay, all all right, so I might make that like a
Yeah,
at
and
least
you got a group of friends and stuff, man. And you just got the hordes coming towards you. It's just
yeah,
or
it's pretty.
someone's being dragged away by a hunter, or whatever. It's just
Yeah, I was like,
So-
damn, all right, this is pretty fucking cool. And then I was like, what happened? Like, where's the third game? And as my friend put it,
Wow.
Gabe Newell is allergic to the number 3. That's what
welcome to Valve, where you've been waiting for the sequel to like one of the best games ever made. It just never fucking comes.
It's not coming.
Hey, they made a VR game though that.
Oh,
in that
did they?
world.
That's not
Apparently it's
Half-Life
really
3.
great.
That's not Half-Life 3.
Apparently, it's really great.
But I had a lot of fun
It's
with
like-
that, so I'm gonna try to play that.
And you said you're playing Ori. What nights do you stream?
Oh, Wednesday is gonna be Ori. So I'm
Alright.
starting Ori Wednesday night at like 8.
Ori, which one?
The first one, because I haven't played them yet.
Okay.
I own it, just haven't played it. So I'm gonna start that Wednesday at 8.
And that's one of those.
I played Will the Wisp before. To be honest, so I don't know. I don't know
really?
I don't think it really matters.
You didn't play Ori in the
when
Blind
you
Forest.
play. Yeah, that's on the back.
It only matters because you're gonna feel like you're missing half the abilities
weird.
because you're gonna feel like it's a stripped down version of the game because they added a lot to the second game that you're gonna really miss.
So it's kind of like the Bayonetta situation.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, why don't you go back to Bayonetta while you at it?
It's probably I would guess it'd be harder to go back to Ori 1 versus 2 than Bayonetta 1 versus Bayonetta 2.
I will say that because I went back and played Bayonetta 1 a few months ago. That's not as bad of a transition as I thought it was. Actually, that game's easier once you play 2. So I was like, all right. I still don't like the environments are still weaker, but it's not as bad of a
Yeah, I
it's
would.
not as jarring as a jump back.
Story wise, Ori doesn't matter, but gameplay wise, you're definitely gonna.
That was my big thing. Like story wise, didn't really matter. So it was just like
I like to go in
Comes out
order
zero.
when I can. So
But just
I
to,
gotta fill up my top 10.
I know you don't play a whole lot of Metroid style games. You're gonna get lost. You're not gonna know where to go. Quite, doesn't tell you exactly where to go, and it's probably gonna be one of those. I don't know if I'd want to stream that my first playthrough because there was times where I was just like I don't know what to do, and I just had to turn the game off and come back a few days later and like, oh, that's all I had to do, so just be prepared for that. But
I mean, I'm gonna give it which is funny because I have Bloodstain and I started playing that again because the Switch version is fucking dog shit, and I just like I need to play a better version of this. So I played it on PC. I'm all right at those kind of games. I don't play a lot of them as much as I probably should, but I'm okay at them. So, we'll see. We'll see how this first stream goes, essentially.
Yeah.
But I mean, either or, it's whatever. If you played the first or second one, they're great games. I'm glad you're playing the first one, and hopefully you like it enough because the second one is just so much better. From just
The reason why I got it was because of you anyway. Like it was off of your recommendation. So I said, bet, fine, fuck it. We'll get into it.
I was so
We'll give it a try.
regretful that I didn't buy that the year it came out, so I couldn't make my top game of the year list. I didn't play
yeah,
Now,
I
this
do
one,
remember
Yeah,
you gotta.
I didn't get Ori to the year after it came out. And I got it on Steam. It's not like it wasn't available. I don't know what made me wait.
You couldn't stop blowing the game once again.
What?
You savage.
Speaking of blowing,
It's amazing. Or
there's some insecure vaginas I seen who are making fun of the Japanese YouTubers who got to play the PlayStation 5 because one of the first things you do in Astro's playground is it just shows you all the different things the controller can do. So people are blowing into the microphone, and it just makes me sad and like just feel for people to see how these dude bro guys think that that's so like wrong, and that's so like I don't even know what the term is, like
That's how we can't have nice things in gaming.
making.
Oh hell no.
They're like,
Absolutely.
oh, when you get your PS5, you have to calibrate your mic. You got to blow into it. I ain't blowing into it. Like, really? Like, seriously? Like, that's what you're worried about. Like, that kind of stuff. I
What am I walking on me?
I
on
can't
doing
even
that
relate
shit?
to it even a little. I can't put myself in the shoes and find any logical path or any kind of mental like way to justify people who say that shit. But I don't know. That's
That's
just
sad.
weird.
That's
That's just
so
weird to me.
really, I don't know. Very strange. People just, they feel like you gotta impress somebody. I don't know. I mean, it's very strange. I don't get it. Like it's like,
Ow! Oh,
Ashtabot looks like a cool game. Like, who
burned my
cares?
hand.
You
There's
gotta
a
blow.
lot of heat coming off my Mac, so I burned myself. Like the Xbox Series X.
Apparently that's running hot.
You dirty bitch.
It's like, so that's one thing we can talk about the PlayStation 5 teardown, is they really seem dedicated to making it quiet and keeping it cool to the extent that this thing's fucking massive. And the heatsink, I've never seen a heatsink like that. It's probably 3 times bigger than any CPU heatsink I've ever seen. It's impressive, and that's probably a good chunk of the cost right there is that heatsink and the liquid metal they have to use to instead of thermal paste. That thing must be running hot. Like,
Good
really.
chunk of the poundage too.
Yeah. I think it's like 10 pounds. But it was cool to see, like, I mean, the faceplates and everything seem to come off relatively simply, and like to swap out or to add the external memory or what do you call it? The internal memory to put in your own drive. I mean, I bet I could do it under 2 minutes. So I was concerned that it was going to be something like some stupid complicated process. So that looks pretty easy, but it's weird that that's like literally the first thing they show of anybody with like it in their hand is like a teardown, which is kind of weird because Nintendo did an unboxing for the Wii U. I don't know about the Switch. So here they just go, this is the first time you're going to see it in somebody's hands, and then it's like, I don't know how big that guy is, but I'm guessing he's a little on the short side because that console was like from his waist to his neck or even more than that. So
Did he have on Iwata gloves?
he did not have gloves on.
Oh yeah, what a gloves.
Yeah.
Well, you needed it with the Wii U, man. The fingerprint magnet, that's probably the only...
Yeah.
That's true.
And I guess the Series X is also a fingerprint magnet, at least the version everybody has right now, the preview version.
It didn't look like one. It doesn't look.
It doesn't look like it would be,
It
but
looks matte to me.
yeah, everybody who's touched it, that's the first thing I said, man, your fingerprints really show up. So maybe they can put a different finish on it. But I don't know. What do you guys think of the size? I mean, it's by far the biggest console ever made. I mean, if you ever get one, do you even have a place for it? Because I'm struggling to think of where the hell I'm going to put it.
That's what I just started to start looking around. Like, where would I can't find a spot, bro.
I said I got space, but I'd have to retire my GameCube, and that's just not happening. So
On the
Well, I guess
floor,
I
I can
can-
put it
I
down
can-
on the floor.
Can't you use a Wii for a GameCube?
Maybe.
Do you have a Wii clocked it?
yeah, I still got my Wii with the GameCube stuff. I don't know, man. I like that my little purple box underneath the TV, you know. And I got my Game Boy player attached to it as well.
Oh, okay.
Fucking fanboys.
No, I haven't taken official measurements, but if I'm gonna have to take the shelf off where my PS4 games, and then I still don't know if that opening's big enough, because I think the PS4 sideways, the Pro sideways, barely fits with that shelf, and then the shelf's probably got enough for 6 games stacked, so it's gonna be tight. If I sideways won't be as a problem, but I don't know. It's an interesting design to say the least. I don't know.
To be fair, I was actually really impressed in terms of how it was
Put together. Yeah.
I mean, it just fitted really nicely, came apart really nicely. Everything was just laid out just as a piece of engineering internally. Yeah, I was really impressed.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it was just thrown together.
It's certainly the best.
You can see the thought in it.
Well, I'll probably give it a little edge to the Xbox Series X because it's really like compact and all that stuff. We haven't had a teardown of it. I don't think, have we?
Well,
Series
we've
X,
seen,
they showed it.
We've seen like a CGI type of.
Yeah, we saw that. So
Well, Digital
but
Foundry
I don't know how.
had a physical. It wasn't like a working unit, but it showed you the motherboard and how everything fit together.
I'm just like, to me, it's the most, especially as far as PlayStation systems goes, because I've gone into all of them post. I mean, I've done PS2 too, but I'm talking like modern HD consoles.
Mhm.
It seemed to be one of the most well put together systems I've seen. So
Yeah, because if you want to take apart the PS4, no, that's a nightmare. Because I've done that.
Yeah, you got to really
it's,
pry up on the
PS3, especially like the first generation PS3. Garbage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the fact that we have to talk about taking apart consoles is just.
We shouldn't have to
Right.
do it in the first
You won't
place.
have to,
Right.
but I mean, it definitely there was some engineering involved. This thing wasn't just thrown together. I mean, it even has
Yeah.
spots to vacuum where they know the dust is going to collect. So you just like it was attention to detail on that was I wasn't expecting to get much out of that, but I actually found it pretty interesting to watch because I do subscribe to guys who repair game consoles, so I've seen all the systems torn apart dozens of times on these channels. Well, one channel in particular, Tronics Fix, and he'll buy like a dozen Xbox One X's and that are broken and try to fix them, and he bought like 20 Switches and tried to fix as many as possible, stuff like that. So I find it interesting to see.
Well, I mean, you don't have to open up the Series X to add more SSD storage.
But it costs $100 more for that storage, so I'd rather just have to open my system up.
Do they have storage for the PS5? I'm not paying attention, so
It's just an MVMe. You just have to. They're gonna give you a list of ones that are compatible or recommended for use with the PS5. But
by the time you need that, they'll all be the same.
But right now, the Series X is $220 for a terabyte, and you can get an NVMe for $120 a terabyte right now. But they haven't told you which ones passed their certification as far as.
Yeah, we don't have the list yet.
Right. So you're just guessing right now.
Well, that's what
pretty
the
much.
price is right now for a terabyte Samsung NVMe.
Yeah, but you don't know if
drive.
that's going to be compatible with your PS5.
We don't. I think it will, but they haven't confirmed it 100%.
I'll say that
They did confirm one thing though. The backwards compatibility.
Yeah, that's right. And it's pretty much what the PS4 Pro did without games getting updates where there's like a boost mode, but then Ghost of Tsushima developers said, hey, there's going to be a 60 frames per second option. Doesn't sound like they're going to do a full like adding ray tracing or all that, which maybe they will down the road, but they said it's like a boost mode where you won't have to buy a PS5 version. There'll be a 60 frames per second option with that game on PS5, and I hope more companies and more developers do that with their games. Because honestly, I'm interested in Ghost of Tsushima, but I was always kind of like, well, I'll just probably play it. I'll get a PS5 and play that someday, maybe next year. And so that was kind of nice to hear that they actually they did a little something, and instead of making you pay $70 to play a 60 frames per second version, unlike Spider-Man. So yeah, the backwards compatibilities, I don't know why they waited so long to just like detail it.
Maybe they were working on it all the way up until
it seems pretty straightforward, Said put your.
I mean, it's possible.
The thing though is
It is true.
forward, and so I think
It is completely possible. Yeah.
And it's
I
like
think it's because Xbox is like championing the fact that they have all the consoles and PlayStation just like, oh well, we're not gonna just show off we can only have 4, haha. Look at us.
Yeah.
It's not.
They might have been like, we're not going to do it, and then they saw how much people value it, and chatter around Xbox, so they probably went back to the drawing. I mean, I'm sure it couldn't have been that big of a deal, but I don't know. I mean, I don't.
Well,
know
the
how
only thing they
things go.
didn't really explain is what happens if you install the game to the solid state, the internal memory, because he did say back in June or whatever, Mark Cerny, that caused some games to crash because it was just too fast. So they must have did a workaround. But the other thing I guess they didn't say was, there's not a lot of internal storage, and it's not like you're gonna install probably 20 back catalog games at once. But and it's just speculation at this point and I think maybe they mentioned it once or a while ago, like you can just plug in an external standard drive, which I have an extra one that I could use, and just put your PS4 games on that but then you're not going to have any.
You won't get the benefit of.
You won't get benefit, but I guess if they don't do anything for the game, there's no guarantee that. I don't know. There's one little question mark, like the Xbox Series X people. I know Clocked It made a little bit of a fun the fact that that's all they can talk about is backwards compatibility, but it is kind of interesting to see different videos and see the different results for some games, the loading times. I think Borderlands 3 was one of the games I've seen recently, which does that have like a ridiculously long load time? If
I don't remember it being very long.
Only really initially.
The initial load time?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Because I think
when
it
you
was
first booted up is the longest.
I think it was like over 2 minutes, whatever game I was watching, and then the Series X got it down to like 53 seconds, but that's still a lot. 53 is still a lot of time. But then,
I think you were watching something like I saw this video.
Final Fantasy was one of them.
It must be like The Witcher as well, or something like that.
Xbox is getting crap for not having quote unquote new next gen games at launch or whatnot, but Sony only has a facade of new only next gen games outside of a couple. So
yeah, neither of them have like.
When you're Xbox, you're gonna have to deal with that. You're gonna have to overcome that.
Yeah, Sony's lucky that they have Demon Souls. Otherwise, they wouldn't have anything either. Like absolutely, they'd have the same. They'd be.
Boss.
They have
PS4 as well. Boo.
No.
I don't think that one is. I don't know if that one is because of the.
What Medium is in December for Xbox Series X. That's.
Oh, you're thinking of Sackboy. You're thinking of Sackboy is on PS4.
Yeah, because Astrobot uses the mic, and I don't think the PS4.
Astrobot comes with the system, so that's PS5.
They confirmed it only has the 4 worlds, so it's not going to be super long, which is a little bummer.
Of course, I mean,
it's going to be. I'm sure it's going to be like 2 hours. I think it's going to be like 2 hours.
But I'd rather have that, like I've said in a tweet or in the chat. Like that's a cool way to like introduce people to the controllers, functions. Versus like 1-2 switch for $50, like.
Yeah, I was gonna say you think Nintendo would do something. Oh,
Nintendo Land.
Nintendo Land was basically what Astro's Playground is. It's not a full deep game. I think Astro's looks fun though. I thought it looked, but it doesn't. They didn't get to show much. It might not have a lot of variety either. We'll have to see because that's one of the things. With Mario games is the variety of levels and each level you might like Retro was complaining about Galaxy 2. You got this great level idea and then they never do it again. You never play that level again. And but
there's not a lot of variety in Wii Sports.
No,
it's not.
There's a lot of replayability though. That's for sure.
There's a lot of replayability, right?
Replay value,
and Ratchet is not a launch title. Malik was asking if Ratchet was a launch title.
Wii Sports was the perfect Wii game. Wii Sports was like such a perfect introduction to the Wii remotes. But I mean, even Astrobot will not be able to be that.
It's crazy because
that's why somebody put out a tweet about
Wii Sports. That
what's the best launch title ever? It's Wii Sports, hands down. That's the best launch title ever. Because it was so simple. It sold the Wii.
It's probably the best system selling launch title.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about like
a surprisingly system seller,
but I'm talking about just like what a launch title is supposed to do, which is sell your hardware. And Wii Sports totally did that. Nobody's done that better. Maybe Mario. Yeah. Maybe you could say Mario Bros. Maybe, but I think Wii Sports is still.
And we're less. I mean, literally, the Series X is less than a month. The PS5 is 1 month away, and we still don't know the full picture. We know Cyberpunk's gonna have I don't even know if they'll sell a PS5 version like on the stores, but maybe they will. But either way, if you buy the PS4 version, you get an upgrade. But it comes out after those systems come out. So, but it's not like they've shown like box art for PS5 version. But we know like that game and Assassin's Creed Valhalla is gonna cross-gen. Dirt 5, which was shown today on the Series X. Lots of cross-gen games. And then Demon Souls is definitely PS5 only. And Series X doesn't have a next-gen only game until the medium is, somebody say December? Yeah,
it's in December.
And I was excited for that game, the idea of that game. And then once I seen the actual what the actual gameplay is, I'm definitely not excited. Probably skip
Yeah,
it.
it might not be your. It's more
Definitely,
PC style. More,
Definitely not what I thought. What I was hoping for, but so it's just
I think
weird.
it's made by the people who made Observer. I don't know if you. I like that game a lot too. So, but it's a PC style game. Man.
Because we've had generations start off with, cross-gen games and stuff before, but usually there's more, even if they're not great, like Rise, Son of Rome, Knack, there's usually more than just one, new, like...
The one isn't a remake.
And it's a remake, it's
Yeah,
like...
yeah.
So it's just, it's a strange... And I don't think
generation.
coronavirus has anything to do with the fact that there isn't any next-gen games, like true next-gen exclusives at launch.
Part of me thinks that they shouldn't have released them this year, honestly. Because
Honestly, again, I think it's the weakest. Like, I mean, to be fair, I wasn't alive for so many things, but like, I just feel like there's no excitement to me for this thing. Like, it's just like these two consoles are just launching, and they're just launching, and it's so sad because like I want to be hyped for these boxes. Like I do, I really, and I want to buy them day one. I want to be excited to go buy a PS5, go buy a Series X, but there's. I mean, when all your games are on the previous console, and there's no like, again, we were talking before. I remember I wasn't here for that discussion, but when Switch was announced, and they announced the whole launch year, a year from all the way down to Xenoblade, and you knew what you were getting. That's only on Switch, and the console was portable. You know what I'm saying? I was able to the next week play Zelda in a plane. There's a huge difference between like those type of things, and just like. It's such a shame.
Yeah, because
all you gotta do is listen to the community. It's like, what are fanboys of each console talking about? Oh, look at my SSD. Oh, look at my back compatibility. They ain't talking about no games. Like this is definitely the weakest launch from major companies. I mean, you could say like, Panasonic, 3DO, and shit like that.
We don't talk about that.
We ain't talking about that. We're talking about major companies. This is the weakest by far. Like
this is actually
easily.
the first time where the Xbox fanboys are trying to avoid talking about Halo.
You can't have that conversation, Retro. There's a problem going on.
What? Hey, what's the Halo? What's that?
It's not like the Switch's launch lineup was filled with exclusives. Breath of the Wild was cross-gen, but it was such a great game. It didn't matter.
But it had that banger.
Yeah,
like I'm gonna say N64
of all time.
N64 launched with 2 games, but they were bangers. Like they were like, this, and they let you know that this is the next gen. They were totally next gen games.
Well, it was like Rob said as well, though. It's the excitement of the hardware. I mean, the N64 had the excitement of the controller, and the graphics, and the Switch had the excitement of the Joy-Cons and the portability. You have that extra factor. To push it, but
I think
it was.
I was just gonna say if I was Sony, I would have held either The Last of Us Part 2 or Ghost of Tsushima as a cross-gen launch game. Like
I'm surprised they didn't. I'll be real. I'm very surprised they didn't because it would have made way more sense.
I think The Last of Us 2 should have just been Ghost of Tsushima should have been the last PS4 game, and The Last of Us 2 should have been a PS5.
I would have picked it up. I would have picked it up day one.
Yeah,
PS5 only.
PS5 only. Wow. And you shift.
That would have been ballsy. I think you would have pissed some people.
It would have been ballsy, but
it would be. To be fair, it would be ballsy, but it would pay off. You would get me in there.
People would buy it.
I would already had it. I would already had it pre-ordered.
In the first few months, and then you shift a few more. It's that type of game.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have a problem selling out their first shipment of systems this holiday. It's just, are they going to have things to keep people buying in January, February, March, these. And I will say, like, if I was like a huge CD Projekt Red, The Witcher fan or something, I wouldn't be playing Cyberpunk on anything but a Series X or a PS5. Like, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it,
Yeah, I can see.
But
that.
If you had no choice, then you do it. But I want that next gen experience with that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like for me, it's like there's not even a game that fits that bill for me personally. It's like, I mean, if I did get a Series X and PS5, this year, I mean, I'd be tempted to buy Cyberpunk just to have something that's like a new game that you know that they put in some effort to make those console, you know, the new consoles take advantage of, you know, like from what we've seen of. It's a beautiful looking game for sure, and that's like, you know, I'd be tempted to pick it up because there'd be nothing else. Like I might be tempted to pick up Demon Souls, a game there's no way I would play Demons. I mean, I tried it on the PS3 and thought it was rubbish, to use a European term. I did not care for that game whatsoever. But you know, if I ended up getting a PS5, I mean, I'd be tempted just because there's nothing else. Like, what would you buy?
Sackboy?
Based
Is that a launch title? Is
I think
Sackboy?
Sackboy is.
Robert,
I think
Sackboy is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Based
it's on the
on what
PS4
Robert-
as well.
Right.
Yeah. so I don't need to get it on the PS5.
Go ahead, Retro.
It's like based off what Robert said, and Clocked and I were talking about that a couple of days ago. It's like there's just
So
no
nice.
excitement for either of these consoles, and it's not just the fact that there's no real clearly defined exclusive launch game or even a cross-gen game. Like we said, Breath of the Wild might have been cross-gen, but it brought all that, and they even stopped fucking making it for the Wii U halfway through to just focus it on the Switch version and shit. That's the whole story by itself. But I mean, it had that, and these consoles not only do not have that, it is so convoluted. What game by what company launches in what quantity on what system in what way? Like, this is digital, this has a disc, this is cross-gen, this is not, this is download, this doesn't have this DLC, this gets upres. It's so convoluted. Like, I don't even want to think about it. Like, I care so little. I'm like, fuck this. I'm just playing my Switch. Like, I'll see you guys in like a year when you have your shit figured out. It's just not fun thinking about this launch.
Yeah, and I agree with
say
everything you
one
just said.
thing, though. I will say one thing though, because I agree with. I think Malik said it in the comments. The difference between the Switch launch and these launches is that, and I think I've mentioned this before though, but Sony is pretty notorious for supporting their old consoles a good couple of years into their new consoles' lifespans. So my brain's like, well, I already know you're gonna at least put a good chunk of stuff still on the PS4. So I'm not in a rush to get your console day one. And on top of your lackluster lineup of games that we currently see, half of those, if not the majority of those, I can play on my PS4 on the same damn day. So there's
Yeah.
I actually think it would have been smarter to maybe like push the PS4 version of some of these games out to be like, if you really want to play Miles Morales, play it. You're going to play it on PlayStation 5 first. That would have been smarter than to be like, well, here's all the same games on the same console on the console you currently own. Because do I really want to spend $500 plus another $50 to $70, depending on what version of Spider-Man I want, just to play that game when I could just spend the $50 on Miles Morales and be done with it? Like, I just don't think
do what they did with Twilight Princess. Put out the Wii version first and put out the GameCube version a month later.
Yeah.
That's smart. That's smart.
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I can think of the reasoning for doing that is because they know they're not going to have a ton of PS5s for the next 3, 4, 5 months, like manufacturing wise. Otherwise, I don't see why you would put Miles Morales on PS4 unless you were afraid that you don't going to have enough systems out there with everything going on. And there's been reports of them having their chipset having like a 50% fail rate. And they don't have a tear down like Xbox. For those of you that don't follow like the PC market, there's like always like an XT or a super version of a graphics card, and it's not because they just want to flood the market with all these variations of price points. It's because you design a chip for whatever the core, however many CUDA cores. Let's say there's 48. A lot of times the manufacturing process, you might only have 46 that work. So that's why there's the AMD has a 5700 XT as their main card, and then they have a 5700. The 5700 is just all those chips where all 48 cores aren't functioning, but 46 work just fine. That's the reason you have two cards that are very similar. So that
it's like Del Monte green beans versus Great Value.
it's
green
like
beans.
instead of throwing those chips away, instead of scrapping them because they don't have the 48. Well, it's got 44 or whatever. It's usually more than 2 off. So an Xbox has that with the S. So all their Series X chips that don't hit the all the cores goes into the S, and then they can deactivate. Let's say the S, I don't know how many the S has. Let's say the S is supposed to have 40 and the chip has 44 good ones. They can just turn off 4 of them, and so you're guaranteed that you have a good chip for that model. And Sony doesn't have that, so every chip that doesn't pass, it just gets scrapped, and then they have to pay a cost of that. So I'm just wondering if there's any of that has to do with why they decided to switch over to some of
I didn't know that happened on the because I knew I'm an old grocery guy. So everybody who thinks there's like better value green bean company, no, there's not a better. What happens is Del Monte says, "Oh, these don't meet the standards of our other green beans, so we'll sell these for cheaper." So you get all the lesser green beans and the better value. So that's how it works. Computers as well, or game companies and whatnot.
And it's smart. It's smart for them.
Smart.
Reduces waste.
That's very smart. You don't put anything to waste.
So other than that, I was just going to add to RetroDesk's point. Now, it was 7 years ago, and I wasn't talking to you guys. Well, some of you we were already chatting, but not like this. I don't remember being excited for the PS4 and the Xbox One personally. So I can't speak for the entire the gaming community, but I don't feel like that there was a lot of hype there either.
I was young though. I was 14. I was a Xbox fanboy, dude. I was an Xbox fanboy.
You were excited after their presentation, even still?
I was damaged. I was one of those damaged controls. I was like, I was like,
he was in the comment sections back in the day.
I have a video up of
guys. The Xbox One looks really great. Look at all these cool TV features.
Well, that's the thing. I was like, when they were saying you have to be always online, you can't share games. I was like. And I was literally saying, well, I'm always on the internet. It doesn't matter for me, I don't even share my game. I don't like to share games anyway. I don't need to share games. And now if you look at this, all my Xbox One games, they're like none. Compared
Is that it?
Look at this PS4 to this Xbox
That's
One.
That's the Xbox One in its entirety.
And half of those aren't even mine. They were from my stepdad. And I did not pick up like any Xbox One games the entire generation. And it was just my game that I wanted to play for the Xbox One was NBA 2K14. That was my big game. And I was like, bro, I can't wait. I'm dying for this. That Rise of Sun.
You're one of those guys doing more damage controlling than actually buying the game.
I was
that's crazy.
I was huge into that.
Want to hear a funny story?
Same with PS4, I was still excited for it. And it just I had to pick one, and I was like the Xbox because I was a 360 guy, So I was like,
I always knew he was sus.
It's
over Infamous Second Son. I thought you liked it.
That came out February
when I picked it up.
Oh, did it?
That
wasn't a launch game?
No.
I wasn't launched.
No. Okay,
never mind then.
That was launched window.
Yes, I had the PS4 February, and then Infamous came out, and I was like, should I pick it up? I don't know. I've never played it. I'm like, maybe I'll try it, and so I picked it up and just loved it, And I was like, dude, Xbox, can you release something? And then I got a PC, and I was like, Xbox isn't going to release anything, and the whole generation. So yeah.
Funny story.
Now I just
gonna
play
say,
older games on it.
Speaking of Xbox, it's the only game console I've ever owned where I didn't have one physical game for the console.
Yeah.
I have 3.
Really? 360.
Oh, you mean which
the Xbox One?
One?
Yeah, right. I have 3 paid for digital games: Titanfall 2, Forza Horizon 4, and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And then obviously the games I played via Game Pass, and then I had Black Ops 4 my buddy gave me, and I sold it for $20 and bought Uncharted Lost Legacy with that 20. So basically traded it for that. And I feel like I should buy at least a couple physical games at some point just so I can have an Xbox One game.
To justify it.
Why? You're just going to be selling it
But
on
when I
eBay
get the Series X...
5 years.
To be fair... Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say I can play, I can continue. I could pick up like Gears 5 physically, even though you probably shouldn't because it's on Game Pass, and you get at least a month free with a new system for sure.
All I was gonna mention real quick was because I remember when the Xbox One and PS4 were being announced. The PS4, I was very much in the mindset, and I'm still somewhat in the mindset of that they didn't give the PS3 enough time, because by the time the PS3 really got back onto its shit, oh, we're coming out with a new console, and I was like, would you just release The Last of Us? Like, why would you do that? Like
I'm on the opposite spectrum, man.
Roll.
I was so ready for another. I hated the PS3. I couldn't wait for them to move on from that thing. I
was just more annoyed considering how long it took them to get back to a place of like stability and have like consistent good games coming out, that by the time they were really into their groove, to me it just didn't make any sense why to release it so quick, to go ahead and undercut themselves when they were in the middle of a groove. Now granted, they had the advantage of Nintendo and Xbox fucking their shit up going into their new consoles, so they kind of got away with murder on that one. I still am very much of a person who believes that the reason why the PS4 succeeded so well was because the other two companies shit the bed in their respective launches.
Partially.
Xbox, I could give a flying fuck about. And then I saw the one come out, and I saw Rise, and I was like, I think the only two games I was super interested in, I think at the time, was like Killer Instinct and Sunset Overdrive. I think those were the two early games we were hearing about or seeing stuff from. And now I own those on PC. So I was
and I had like 20. I had over 20 games on my 360. I mean, all the Xbox One had to do was just
20?
not have. I had over 20. That's for an Xbox, for a non-Nintendo system. That's
what you got to.
That's a lot for juice, though.
That's a fucking ton.
Still a lot of games, though. 20
that's
games
just
is still a lot
that's
of games.
physically. I had a couple.
Still buy too many.
But so I mean, I should have been
over 10 years.
I should have been excited for a fucking Xbox One, and they just butchered that launch with the price, with the Kinect, and the system itself.
They fell in love with that damn Kinect too much.
There was not one good thing about it.
I was also defending that, yo. I was defending that. I was like,
defending the Kinect too.
Kinect.
Oh god damn!
I love the
Xbox
Kinect.
on.
So, all that. Yeah, and yeah, I remember you had to actually at first they were like you have to have the Kinect plugged in to turn on the different. Like what the fuck? I'm like that's crazy. And
Robert was a baby bot.
Yeah, dude, I totally was. And a lot of it just once I picked up the PS4, then once I more YouTube stuff, saw you guys, and then it was like I was like, and I saw the fact that I was picking up no damn games for the console.
Remember when Robert was defending the PlayStation Plus price hike for no reason?
Oh yeah,
you guys dogged me.
You were like in tears.
We got on his head so bad I felt bad about that.
I did.
Yeah, destroyed me that day. And first of all, I still to this day, like in the end of the day, like.
No, stop.
I can't do much about it.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
Well, you don't have it anymore.
Leave it alone. Go to the next
thing. Seriously. No. But I mean, seriously, I don't have PS Plus. I don't have PS Plus for years now. But I mean, literally, you can't really do much about it. It's a problem.
If you wanted to play,
you guys destroyed this man's positivity.
All right, so let's turn our attention. Did anybody download the Pikmin 3 Deluxe demo? Apparently, there was a demo.
Why? Why would any of us do that? I don't know.
Okay.
I was just
to
curious.
see what it plays like on
I was
Switch?
curious, and there's time for this to change, but I guess I'm not surprised, but at the same time, I am. And it's just a demo. The final product could be different, but they did absolutely nothing. The game runs at the exact same resolution and frame rate of the Wii U version, 720p 30, and from what I've seen from all the screenshots, they literally did nothing on that front. I mean, they added a split screen mode apparently for the single player. I didn't watch the Treehouse, so
as local co-op.
Local co-op. All right. I mean, how many people are actually going to probably utilize that? Probably some people, but I don't think that's going to be...
for the story, that's fine.
I don't think that's going to be a selling point though for a lot of being able to play that split screen, but I can't believe, like, to me this is, I don't know what that is. there's no way, there's no justification to not do. I mean, at the very least, not that it matters that much, but the game doesn't run at 1080p like all the other Switch Wii U ports. Like, so they did nothing to it visually. Like, that's just.
It looks a little bit better visually from the comparison shots.
I didn't see any difference, man.
It's not
no difference.
It's nothing to like write home about. But there is
there wasn't one thing where it's like
somebody right now.
Part of it is a difference, Joe.
I didn't see a visible difference other than some.
It's like slightly from what I've seen. It's like
Look,
I tried to see differences. I could not see.
I tried, dude. I looked at.
No. It's one of those things that if you look at a comparison shot, you'll notice it. But like if you're playing the game, you'll never see it.
No,
I look at them side by side.
I was looking at side by side comparisons. I couldn't see. I couldn't tell.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe a slight difference.
What do you think?
I saw somebody on fucking Twitter. I don't remember who this bitch was. Somebody was like, "Oh, Pikmin 3 looks like it was made last."
Oh yeah, I seen that. I seen that tweet.
Wait, I didn't hear this.
Go ahead, say it again.
Somebody like on Twitter said like, "Oh, Pikmin 3 looks like it was made like last week." Like, no, it fucking doesn't.
So I got this paused.
Looked like it was made in a week.
I'm the one who's like, I don't care about graphics, but that shit is blurry as fuck. It is edgy. The pigments look like octagonals and shit. That is barely a Wii U fucking game. That thing looks great on the Wii U.
But look at this.
Said it in the same sentence as Mario Kart 8, which does still look really fucking great today. That shit holds fucking up. Pikmin 3 does not. I don't want to.
Pikmin 3 holds up. Come on, Pikmin 3 looks great, yo.
Oh, wait there. Okay. I understand the whole comparison, and and it's going a bit far saying it looks like this game was made today, but Pikmin 3 does not look trash. Pikmin 3.
It looks a great game.
No,
I can't go with that.
Yeah, that's a reckless claim.
Yeah.
But look at this looks worse.
I think Kaito's looks trash.
All right, one at a time. I got this paused here. This shadow looks so like out of place.
Ooh.
On the Wii U, it looks natural. It looks natural, and you could actually see the ground texture. On the Switch, you can't even see through the water like this.
Technically, the chat's covering it. The chat's covering the comparison shot.
Partially.
I can't.
But you can see the shadow though.
I can see the shadow.
Yeah, I can see. Okay, I guess
it's highly defined.
Like, look at the background. It's missing details. Like, that looks terrible.
It looks like a cutout.
It does.
I mean, it looks terrible. This Switch version looks worse. And like I said to you guys, with some, minor work to just clean up, have higher resolution textures or better texture filtering, this and some maybe improve, change the lighting a little bit more. This could have looked like a current gen Switch game without a ton of work. I don't know. I'm not a developer, but I'm just saying, because Pikmin 3 was always one of the best looking Wii U games, and if they just put any kind of effort into it, could have been one of the best looking Switch games. And that's unacceptable to just it port almost identically, and then it's missing stuff. It's like, I just don't know what the fuck they're doing.
There's just more sunlight on the Switch version, and so the shadow is sharper.
Or the little thing on the top.
I mean,
it's not even a full shadow.
It's just the epitome of
lazy. Right. That looks weird now.
And fucking just.
I can't stop seeing it.
I mean, they're charging $60 for this game, and they've done nothing to it.
There has some.
You could buy
this
is
for $60. People wanted. People wanted a port of Pikmin 3.
I want to play it portably.
And I say, fuck them. Let them have a fucking game.
I mean, don't you want Pikmin 4? I don't understand.
No, but people didn't play Pikmin 3.
Yeah, they need
to introduce new people to Pikmin 3.
Yeah,
people didn't play Pikmin 2. People didn't play Pikmin 1. You don't keep releasing that shit because you feel like people ain't played it.
They gotta play Pikmin 3.
How many times you need to fucking reintroduce a series that came out in 2002? Right? It's been across multiple consoles. It's been in multiple games. Fuck you. If you haven't played Pikmin by now, right?
You want to reintroduce some shit? Reintroduce them fucking games that cost $400 used
We
on them.
introduced them to fucking
It's like
Rad
a
Racer.
CB
right?
Robo
Not
and shit like
fucking
that.
Pikmin.
Also, it's like, if you're gonna reintroduce a franchise, why are you only porting number 3? Why not 1, 2, 3?
Right,
Make them
exactly.
boom. That's what it is.
But
And then-
no,
and
they
it-
need
that
to.
makes-
People need to buy Pikmin 3 so they can fund Pikmin 4. Because
we back on that now.
they've only doubled their cash reserve in the last 2 years to $700 billion. They can't afford
they
to make
got no money.
Pikmin
makes
4.
no sense.
One thing I will say though is, just because Terrell went on a date with Barrett, it doesn't mean that Final Fantasy VII is a game guide game because he didn't get to date
Fuck.
Tifa or
hey,
Aerith,
hey,
right?
hey,
That's all I'm gonna say.
dare
Anyway,
you?
back to Pikmin, yeah, back to
Hey,
Pikmin.
We're gonna
We
fight.
should have Pikmin 4, right? We should have Pikmin 4.
Wow, I'm
Sick of people.
I know
Mhm.
he did that. I don't know. He
Well, here's
did
the other
that.
thing. And it's
So
it.
dirty.
We all understand that the Switch isn't some massive leap over the Wii U, but when you see like, it sucks. But when these other companies bring a game from the previous gen to the new gen to their new system, you're not even questioning if they've done anything like visually or they did tweaks to the game on that front, and it's like, to me the couch co-op thing, it's going to affect a pretty small portion of people,
Oh, and they made some control tweaks,
especially since it's a portable. I mean, a lot of people are portable. I mean, that's the reason they want to play Pikmin 3 is I can play that portably. We can't. You're going to play that split screen on a portably? Like, seriously. Like,
You can play Pikmin 4 portably as well.
it just feels
Even if you
like
play it on the little Switch screen, it's still gonna be like them Pikmin gonna be tiny than a bitch.
no shit. That's a good point.
Oh yeah.
I did play it on the Wii U gamepad. Were you even able? Yeah, because you had to switch back
You
and
can,
forth.
but I couldn't play
Yeah,
it like that.
it was not the best way.
Too small. They were too small.
And using the dual analogs
Also,
just was so inferior.
and it was only 480p, so that didn't help.
So did anybody
Oh,
watch
that's true.
the
That's right.
Treehouse? I couldn't believe they did 46 minutes of Pikmin 3.
because they went over the story mode, some of the changes they did to the controls. Then they did the mission mode, and then the Olimar
46
thing.
minutes? Really? Like,
You know what's funny? You know what's funny though?
I was
With
fine with
Pikmin 3, yo. You want to find footage of Pikmin 3? You can find the ending of the game, man. It's okay. It's all out there, yo. It's
really
been out there
want
for
to
7
sell
years now.
Three. That's how-
You
There's a
want to know
couple-
it?
There's a couple of things they've added to the actual game. Like the game now has like 2 more difficulty options, multiple save slots. There's a few control changes. And then you have the missions, the Olimar prequel missions, I think bingo battle stuff. And some people have mentioned that like some of the level design, not the level design, but like certain aspects of the levels have changed a little bit. But I haven't gone through and looked through all
Probably
that.
there's probably one plant that isn't there anymore. So oh, there's the big difference. Look at that.
it's just
You know what I'm saying?
It was I wasn't as far as Switch ports are concerned, I'm not that offended by this one. This is not
really.
still
What do you
Oh,
think's
come on,
worse?
man.
One of the
You don't think
worst.
you should pick
I
this
one of the worst.
agree with Juice. I agree
This is
with
one of the
Juice.
worst, dude.
It was a staggering
I just-
amount of time to go over a port again. I don't think I've ever seen that. I mean, we've had lots of ports in the past, but the amount of time that they spent talking about the game like it was brand fucking new, right? Like it was brand fucking new. I'm just like, oh my god! I didn't even watch the
I'm the
Treehouse.
one with the
I didn't
garbage
even watch the
opinion.
Treehouse. I didn't want to see any more Hyrule Warriors. I've seen enough of it. I want some freshness.
I had to watch some.
So, and I'm not even going to waste time watching a Pikmin 3 demonstration of a game I've got fucking countless amount
You
of
gotta
hours in.
love what
I just
they
love
did
how
with that, though. They knew very well what they were doing. They were hiding Hyrule Warriors hostage behind
Oh,
the
yeah.
Pikmin
Oh,
yeah.
garbage, so that everybody was forced.
Yep.
to
I'm glad I
watch
didn't
that
watch it
shit.
live.
I didn't watch it at all, but yeah.
I did.
You're right on. You're exactly right.
I didn't have any issue watching it.
I love how they gave
But
away
I do agree about
free
holding hostage.
those Pikmin shorts when I had to pay for them bitches. Thank you very much, Nintendo, for that. Just,
Oh,
I
see,
forgot we
I
had to
did-
pay for them.
It's
I
been how
totally
many
forgot
years?
about that.
just,
I
just,
didn't buy those.
just-
I
but-
think
but
those
still.
are on YouTube.
just to hell with you, hardcore Nintendo fans.
Ow,
on the Wii U.
That's the thing they give away.
To
That's
hell.
instead of having a Wii U port be $20, they give away movies that they had sold previously. It's like Pikmin 3 for everything I've seen and heard about this game should be a $20 Wii U port on Switch, and Terrell Trilink wants to know what you're smoking because he wants some.
30 chops.
Honestly, what is worse?
Yeah, but I'm not arguing the price though. I would agree that it shouldn't be 60. I 100%.
I'm just curious what you think's a
But
worse
Terrell,
or less
what way-
effort port.
Donkey Kong, always. Donkey Kong is a worse port. It will always be my least favorite Switch port. It's fucking dog shit as a port. It's fucking stupid. You will never. You can never. You need to give me factual reasons why.
New Super Mario
Pikmin
Brothers
3
U was
It's sold better than Pikmin gonna sell. I tell you that. I believe it will. I believe that's going to be the case.
You think Captain Toad was a better port, taking out
Then
levels
what?
and adding one Odyssey level?
What you
Worse
mean
controls.
better than Pikmin or better than Donkey Kong?
Either or, like, because
But it was
It
$40 at least.
was
Well,
better. It was better than Donkey Kong just off the price.
well, it was the same price. It was the same price as the Wii U version, which
That's
was
better than going up $10.
That's
DK,
still
DK
better.
went up.
One of the
Yeah,
It's better than
reasons
going up $10. Donkey Kong is always gonna be my least favorite Switch board.
I agree that when it comes to
I have to
the
agree with that.
amount
I
of
think that's
work
probably
put
true.
in
Can't
the
even
game,
argue that one.
when it comes to
$10
the amount
more.
of work in the game, yeah, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze might be worse, but Pikmin 3 is technically
more
worse in a lot of people's eyes because Pikmin 3 released in like fucking 2012 or some shit. There's no
No,
reason
13.
we don't have Pikmin
2013.
4 simply because of the that's like 7 years ago then. But I mean, like, come on. Like, you could have had Pikmin 4 at this point for this. That makes it a lot worse than Tropical Freeze.
You could have also
way more.
And one for 102 as well, but we
You
still
had-
get that game came out the same year as Pikmin 3, so you gotta hate on that one.
remember-
All I'm saying is, and Donkey Kong was only like early 2014, so it's not that much of a.
Well, it was
It
a
would have been
four,
2013. They pushed it
yeah,
back.
exactly. They pushed it back.
but it was a 4-year
So-
gap
Problem-
from Tropical Freeze Wii U to Switch, and it's a 7-year plus gap for Pikmin 3. By the
Yeah,
time it come out.
exactly. And the main problem,
Like I
with
said, if you view it more
Pikmin 3 is,
offensive, that's fine.
remember
Factually,
that Pikmin 4 is already ready, you know? They have it done. They're just not releasing it. That's why we're getting free.
They're just holding
No, but-
it. They're holding it.
So how, but Terrell, how you not offended at the fact that they just, this is clearly just the fact that Pikmin 2 sold less than Pikmin 3. This is not based on sales, it's not based on what you said. This is based on, this is so fucking easy to just release this game again. Like, how is that not like, dude, it's just too clear. Like, Pikmin 2 sold less than 3. That's a factual fact. So if we're like trying to bring up sales, Pikmin 2, we should port it. But why don't they want to bring Pikmin 2? Oh, they got to do work. They got to HD, you know. Fucking port
So they want more
3.
money for that shit. They're gonna get more money.
Wait,
out of it.
all our
Robert,
fucking fanboys,
fair
all our
Robert,
fanboys are gonna say the Wii U sold didn't sell well. Fucking put it there.
Robert,
It's $20
that's a
at
fair
each
point.
shop.
Yeah, Robert, that's a fair point. But I would make the same argument for fucking. Well, not the exact same argument. That's not fair. But
I
I
can
would,
see-
I would complain about Donkey Kong in the same way. Why didn't
No,
you bring?
dude, I agree with you there though.
Well,
I mean,
that's
like Donkey
fine.
Kong's also shit.
I'm not saying it's justified to be 60. My issue is when you sit there and say it's the worst Switch port.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Donkey Kong like you're out of your
Yes, no,
fucking
I
mind.
get that.
I
get
have to
that
agree
too,
with them
but-
because
Yeah,
Donkey Kong, again, it was $10 more than it came out.
Yeah, you had to
Like,
pay more.
you can't beat that. That's the worst you can get right there.
No matter, there was less things done to
You
it.
pay more for the same game 6 years later. I mean, that's just
So
I'm not
let-
disagreeing.
5 years later.
Now, I'm not disagreeing with the visual changes. It's so
Yeah.
there's none. We might as well just say there's no difference between Pikmin 3 and Pikmin 3 Deluxe. All right, that's fine, but at least there's more effort put into it than Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong had
Because
like,
there's
an
new
easy
content.
mode. That's
Yeah,
what
I
they gave.
get you. Yeah, technically.
They gave you an
Also,
easy mode, and that was it.
What I'll say is I was telling you guys in the chat, this is probably with Pikmin 3. Let's say it was 10 Wii U ports. I'm not including Hyrule Warriors. If you combine that for $60, that's $600, right?
Mhm.
Okay, well, most of the games on Wii U are $200. I mean, if you combine 10, they're $20 each. So if you bought a Wii U that is $300 plus $200,
Oh,
you still have $100 remaining to buy Xenoblade Chronicles X and that shit that you want and your fucking other thing. It's like, oh, so hello, and then they're like, oh, but it's a dead console.
Is it even
That means
300
That
though?
means the library is complete.
No, it's probably not 300 anymore.
Of the Wii U? Well, that's what I'm saying. That's max. It's probably way less.
Let me see
And it's
what
like-
one
it's like,
goes
so you're
for on
telling me-
eBay.
curious.
Your
What?
fucking ass.
Wii U.
What?
You're telling me your ass doesn't want to buy
Wii U
a
system?
Wii U where you could get a whole
Oh.
collection?
What is
You
this?
still
$150
want
maybe?
$60 Xenoblade? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, instead of buying $600 worth of games, you could buy a $300 console plus $300 of those same games on the Wii U.
Oh,
And it's like, get a better deal.
fucking.
It's like,
I think the Wii U might be hitting that rare status because I'm
Think?
looking at some of these prices and
Really? I just looked at them. What that much? Wasn't that expensive?
well, maybe
It
Amazon.
depends on. I'm sure if you go new, yeah.
And
of
you
course
can't
it
just-
will.
Oh, yeah,
But,
You can't just
this-
look at
at this
the.
point, go used.
You have to look
I
at
see
the
about-
completed listings to see what they actually go for. Not
What,
just
what they actually sold for, right?
Oh, okay, I got you.
and I don't know where that
Because
is.
that's my big thing. That's my huge thing. I'm like, you're telling me everyone wants these damn games again, but it's like, dude, we're now at a point where it's if you bought them all at full price, they're $600. You could buy a Wii U and all those games, and you would still have money left.
I
Crazy.
said
It
that. I
makes
said
no-
that 100 years ago.
Makes
Why
no
not just
sense.
buy the system these came out on, and then you can get other stuff that's never gonna come. There's
Yeah,
stuff
like-
that's never going to come
Yeah.
to Switch. No matter how much you wait and
Don't want-
complain,
Like I said, people don't want to do that. That's the reality.
it's crazy
But
to
they're
me.
fucking
It's not that
stupid, dude.
it's not that you're wrong. You're not wrong. I'm just saying people don't want to do that.
Yeah,
No, I
well, I
agree.
know.
No,
I know they
that's
don't want
the
to
thing.
do it.
People don't want to do it, but it's like, how is that not the better deal? Like factually.
As a
Factually,
gamer, you're just gonna
getting
sit
10
around and
games,
and
or
hope
you're
and
getting an
dream.
entire new console. Getting an entire new console plus those games plus your Xenoblade Chronicles X that you want ported so bad because you were fucking tard, and then you want to also then you also want have the virtual console stuff. So N64, you have your Super Nintendo and NES there. You have your Nintendo DS that you'll never get on the Switch. Your Game Boy.
I wonder if
Advance
you
on
could
there,
still.
your Wii games, so backwards compatibility, so all the Wii games, and you're sitting here saying, "I want my 10 games on Switch for $600." Sorry,
The
but
Wii U is
you
one
got-
of the
you got
overall.
gypped. You got gypped. You know,
It's one of the
It's
overall
ridiculous.
greatest value consoles ever made. Like, just the amount of stuff you can buy on it and you can play on it is astronomical.
You
Like,
think you can still switch
I just
your
don't.
your Wii, all your save files and games? If you like bought a Wii U today, you
Yeah.
never own one, and you have your Wii. I wonder if that transfer process still works.
Well,
from
it's
Wii to
honestly
Wii U.
still the Wii system transfer.
I don't know.
I would think.
You just
so.
use the
I
SD
think
card.
it would. Yeah. I
It
don't see
wasn't.
why-
It wasn't online, so it's just.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, it
it's the
wasn't
SD
online.
card, but you can't put a credit card on the Wii U eShop. You have to buy like eShop.
You have to buy an eShop
I
card.
mean,
yeah.
that's still fine though, because like
Yeah.
I mean, think about it, there's eShop is the eShop, so
They do
haven't
that
changed
because they're not updating it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
robbing people. So
You know, one of these days when we see
hacking.
see Wii U is closing, it's
You know-
gonna be a bad wallet. You'll buying all those DS games I didn't buy and shit.
Yep.
I think with all the Galaxy 1 and 2 I've been playing on my Wii U, I honestly think I played my Wii U more this year than the Switch. I don't have like hard numbers
Wow.
for the Switch because we had a few Smash game nights, and then I played Breath of the Wild for probably a couple hours on the Switch this year, and other than that, that's I played a little bit of Hellblade, but I played most of that in December. Bought it like early December last year. So
You played
this
it on
the
Switch?
Switch.
Oh yeah, you did. play
It dropped. It was like 60% off. I think I got it for like $5 with some of my gold points. So it wasn't like a
Yeah.
huge investment. But honestly, I think it's neck and neck with my Wii U and Switch this year playtime, and they're both under 10 hours. I would say, which is just fucking unbelievable.
Xbox.
It's unbelievable to say that I played 10 hours on a Nintendo system in a year. Well, it's not a full year yet. Hyrule Warriors will had at least I'm guessing 30 to 40 for sure.
Yeah, you're struggling to play something on there this year.
And I gotta say, I did watch the Treehouse of Hyrule Warriors, and fucking God, Impa her moveset is fucking looks so fun to play.
I appreciate the attention to detail because when you were in the Gerudo town and I realized you can walk inside of some of the buildings
Oh, yeah.
and shit, and I was like,
Urbosa.
damn, because you don't have to. You don't have to do that. There's nothing in there.
No, but
it's like cool world building. I fuck.
It's
with
that bar where you have to overhear them talking about the secret code to that club to get into that, where you can buy some gear and stuff. But seeing Urbosa, playing as Urbosa, I was just like, I don't know what word to use. I was gonna say if we weren't live, I'd have a turn. But I just saw that and I was just got giddy. I got giddy,
Microsoft
just like
getting ready to swallow somebody else. Looks like.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just seeing Urbosa running around the desert. I was like, oh my god, it looks just like Breath. Like visually, it looks just like Breath of the Wild.
And that open world design is still good for that map. Like you have part of the map that's just the town.
Mm-hmm.
You get out into the desert and it's all expansive.
It even had was it Madolga or what is that sand creature?
Yeah,
Madolga.
Yeah, Madolga.
It even had that. Like, are you kidding me? It had the Hinox like retro set.
Yeah, the attention to detail is absolutely astounding. It's ridiculous.
Clock is coming in.
And then you got
move on.
And then we got waifu.
Zelda.
Dude.
No,
Yes,
was it
no.
Pura?
Pura.
Pura and
yeah,
Pura.
Robbie looks badass. Pura's like
fuck with him.
Check it. Pura is
she's
nice.
that's I love that spunky.
Hey,
And it's
Terrell,
just-
who's your waifu, yo? Who do you prefer?
I'm probably more of an Emperor guy. I'll be real.
Really? Okay.
Pura is tempting. I'm not gonna bullshit you.
I
Pura
think
is very fucking.
knowing Terrell, he likes the Breath of the Wild Pura better, the de-aged version.
Paya?
I fucks with Emperor.
No, the
myself.
de-aged one where she got young. She made herself young.
No, I prefer her Calamity one. I see what
Okay.
you're doing there.
You trying to talk shit? You trying to talk shit? You over there trying to
See what
talk
you're
shit on
doing
the fly?
You need a dig, but no. You want to imply something completely different, get my ass
Yeah.
arrested. That's
Yeah, you trying to talk some
Trying to
shit?
catch you in case. Trying to catch you in case, yo.
You know
I
what?
know. You're being sus as shit. I don't trust this man.
Hyrule Warriors, or no, not Hyrule Warriors. Commonwealth Realm had gameplay of that I've never seen anywhere else. They had like a 30-minute like reaction, and now they have Nintendan, who, I'm sorry, he talks a lot and he talks over everybody. I don't know why they have him on there. He must have joined their team.
Nintendo's been doing stuff for a while.
And but they're reacting to footage. I don't know where they got it. It was, stuff.
What was the footage?
I have to click on it again. I was just like, no, I don't want to see this. Like, I turned it off after about 20 seconds. I was like, what the fuck? How do they have this footage? This wasn't anywhere.
I was gonna say, because the
really?
Treehouse had the link with the two-handed was it a mallet? I forget what it's called. Fucking, he had those sections, and then they had the Hinox fight. In the
Yeah, it was
Treehouse,
something different.
Plus the Urbosa stuff. So
Oh,
it was good. I mean, they showed a good variety of stuff.
Yeah, this I got it
Great,
playing.
yo. It looks great.
The character
Oh,
designs.
no,
Nintendo is.
it looked
I seen somebody saying, "Oh, Koei's making all these characters hot." I'm like, Nintendo. It said specifically we're responsible for all character designs and visuals.
Y'all
I'm
wasn't working
sorry.
on- y'all
I'm
wasn't
sorry.
saying nothing when y'all
What's wrong with
posted
attractive people, yo?
Yeah,
What's wrong with attractive?
there's too many
people? Like, you
attractive
can't
people.
have-
It's not realistic.
It's not realistic.
Look
It's like, dude, they're in a war, yo. They're not
Yeah.
gonna be not built. Like they're gonna be somewhat fit, yo.
I
And,
mean,
hey man,
I could see I could see the Impa though. I mean, I could see why you prefer Impa too, because she's. I mean, they're all.
Everybody's
everybody's
got a different
designed well.
style, you know. I personally like Pura a little bit better because she has like this punk aesthetic, which is just more kind
Mm-hmm.
of my thing. and
Yeah,
shit.
that would be. She seemed like your type anyway.
Let me try to
going
find the
out?
Commonwealth realm.
Okay.
Let's see what.
Oh. But yeah, it feels more like a Zelda game in a lot of ways,
Yeah,
other than like
it
Koei Tecmo Battle.
And then you
System.
seen the
It's
map. You saw the map, so you don't go to the. It's not like Hyrule Warriors 1 where you go to this map and you go and selecting. Like you just bring up the world map and you can click and go to all these scenarios. So it's exactly what I hoped for.
I hope when Koei Tecmo does their games moving forward with other like properties, please do shit like this more often, where you try to inject. Go ahead.
They said themselves that that they really, really enjoyed working on this game, which is completely different to what they normally do.
Yes.
So I think now this time around, whereas Nintendo were like, "Shit, man, we love Warriors, let's do that shit." Now Technical like, "Holy shit, man, we love this story-based stuff, let's do this shit." So, you know, it's
It's so well done compared to like, as someone who plays their other games, their other properties. Like, I'm a One Piece fan, so I play their One Piece Pirate Warriors games. it doesn't feel like I'm injected into the world. It feels like you made a Koei Tecmo game around that property, whereas Zelda literally feels like you took Breath of the Wild and then just changed the battle system. And I was like, that's what I'm fucking talking about.
Very cool.
I appreciate that. It's great.
Yeah, and they clearly aren't able to do it on their own, though.
No, and it makes me mad.
You can see Nintendo all over this game. All
Yeah.
over it. Every fucking inch of it.
And it was
good, bro.
and
It
maybe
looks
maybe
so
I just
good.
missed the stream, but they were talking over some Daruk gameplay, which I didn't remember seeing.
Oh, that's probably from TGS. That's probably from Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, and everything was in Japanese in the game itself. But
that's
I
Tokyo
watched
Game Show.
most of that, so I don't. They must have missed
They
that
streamed it
part.
twice.
Oh,
had 2
okay,
days
I only
for
saw the first day then.
Yeah, the second day they had Daru.
I mean, honestly, I was trying to think. Out of all the Switch games that have come out, I'm trying to think the last time I was this excited to play the game. Maybe it didn't get when I saw the trailer. I wasn't like, oh my god, But just thinking about actually excited to play the game, I honestly think it was Odyssey was the last time I was this, or the game that was about comparable to my excitement to play Age of Calamity. Like, yeah, I wanted to play Smash, but it was Smash. We knew what that was, and Luigi's Luigi's Mansion 3 looked good, and I was looking forward to it, but not to this level. Like, Age of Calamity is like the game I didn't know I wanted. Now I can't freaking wait for it.
I would say it was similar hype for me when I saw Luigi Mansion 3.
Yeah, I've had quite a lot of hype for a few games. I mean, you did like
Same.
Astral Chain. I was
Astral
pumped for
Chain.
I was pumped for Luigi's Mansion. I was pumped for Octopath Traveler. There's been a lot of Switch games that I've been.
Damn it, Ex Machina.
Don't get me
People
wrong.
forget about that game, though.
I mean, Breath of the Wild is we knew it was another level. But there's still a great level of hype for other games. So without a doubt.
And it's one of those
I heard
games.
God of War was game of the generation, though. So.
Oh, I saw Last of Us 1.
Get out of here, bro.
I saw Last of Us.
That's what I saw.
Somebody had Last of Us 1 as the game of the last generation. I'm like, it wasn't. It was a PS3 game. It wasn't. What the fuck? I see somebody tweet that was their game of the generation. I'm like, it wasn't part of the 8th generation. Are you fucking kidding me?
It was barely. I mean, technically,
It was barely in the 7.
it came out
Right.
before PS4 came out. So it's. I mean, I don't care. It's not.
Yeah. Well, it's called The Last of Us Remastered.
You reaching it,
It's
you reaching
not-
for that.
That one's that was just a head scratcher there, and even if it wasn't, even the game itself, like, yeah, I enjoyed the game, but I mean, game of the generation, get out of here. It wasn't even the best game of that year, in my opinion. 3D World was, but
Starhawk, game of the generation, yo.
3D World's gonna. I said this. This is random.
Why you look at the camera like that? T, you was.
When does 3D World come out on Switch? Like February or something? March, February.
I thought it was.
3D World was
February. It's February.
Yeah, for
February.
Switch.
Yeah, it's February.
I said this before.
Oh, see, I'm thinking of the only 3D World I didn't even think about. Wii U one.
You know how much
Sorry.
love that game's gonna
February.
get, and how much compared to how much hate it got on Wii U for not being a
I
real
know.
3D Mario
It's
game. And
ridiculous.
just wait till the real game comes out. You know how many fucking times I know Leveled Head Gamer said it over and over, because we we did podcasts together and stuff. He said that so
We were friends,
consistently.
I was about to say.
He said it so nonchalantly.
We were friends at one point.
Like things fell
We were
apart, but like he said it so matter of factly, like it was just wasn't even anything to debate. Yeah, once the real 3D Mario game comes up, this is the team, like. But
Yeah, I don't get it.
it made
Not
me
a
so.
side team. It's
It made me
supposed
so
to
angry. I made a couple of videos about it. I was just so mad about
It's
everyone
literally-
saying that.
He making anger videos.
Fucking Adam Sessler. I went into rage mode
Sessler.
because he said that it was too complicated to run and do the long jump and stuff because he had to press the shoulder button. Like, you had to do that on the fucking Mario 64.
What a bitch boy.
And I just lost. Like, I didn't love the guy, but I at least respected him and watched his content. After he said that in a round table about the games of the year, and that Nick, I forget his last name, his 3D World was one of his choices, and he's like, I couldn't wrap my hands around these controls. There was just so many buttons you had to press to do a long jump, and I'm like, nothing. I'm like, dude, I am done with you. I was done. Literally, that was like
What?
it was it. I checked out after that. I just couldn't
That's
take
so
it anymore.
like
The Wii U era
it's
was
so-
dark times, man.
it's so internet culture. Like I was so fucking mad. Like I made videos about it. It's so good.
He's
I'm
raging
try-
over there.
Just trying to convince people like this is a great fucking game. Like don't miss out.
If you don't know that, then fuck you.
I get
Like I don't know what to. If you
Yeah,
don't
like
know
you
that,
said, now you know everyone's always like, oh man, I love 3D World, so good. I've actually been seeing like favorite.
but
3D
wait for the
Mario. I've
real
been seeing-
3D Mario game.
Yeah, it's like
So Dave 97
what are you
asked
talking
a
about?
question for that would have been better last week. I don't know. 10-2. Yeah, it was posted. I must not have seen it. And I don't know. I guess what you guys I'll get your guys' thoughts. Do you think the reaction to Minecraft, Steve in Minecraft, would be different if he was revealed as the last fighter in the fighter pass? I don't know if you meant this one or the last one.
It wouldn't
I
matter.
say a little
Yeah, I
bit.
don't think
Just because anything that's the last one is gonna be, there's gonna be more people frustrated.
Okay,
because
yeah,
it's
I get that what he's trying to say then. Because Byleth, I think that was the biggest part of a big chunk of the hate was like that's the last one. Like you don't have a hype one to end with. It's like this character not many people know, you know. So
I remember raging over that shit. I was like, wait, your last one is a fucking Fire Emblem character again? That made me mad.
I don't think it would have made a difference for Steve though.
made it. So
Tired of all these purple hair motherfuckers.
I was in tears. I was like, oh, people gonna be mad as fuck. I'm chilling though. I'll be chilling.
I was just
They're
confused.
gonna be mad as fuck.
And this
I couldn't
miss
believe it. I thought this was someone else. It was like the next Fighters Pass. I don't know.
and I was watching that guy who was Terrell said he was got a Switch. He's Microsoft Sony guy. That's one thing I don't like about that channel is how he labeled those videos. But so he's
Oh no, that's a YouTube gimmick. You have to
got
do
a
that.
Switch. So then he started watching all the reaction trailers and reveal trailers for Smash characters. And it was like reliving bad memories. It was Joker followed by Hero. And I'm just like, the dark days. And then, I think it was Banjo next. And then it was Terry and Byleth. And I'm like, man, when you just see it all like one after the other, like to me, it just reiterated that was from a hype level. That wasn't a good 5 characters as far as like from hype. The characters ended up being most of them other than Joker, pretty enjoyable to play as. But it was pretty, I would say anticlimactic to end on Byleth. And then, it just wasn't, in my opinion, seeing them back to back and back, it just wasn't a great fighter pass as far as excitement level, from that perspective.
For you.
Yeah, for me.
Ooh.
I'm not. Yeah, I figured that was. I figured that was. I thought that was obvious. That I was talking about from
I think that goes without
my
saying.
opinion.
Yeah, like I hate when people like challenge you and it's like, oh, why don't you? They act like I have to say in my opinion, bitch. It obviously it's my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, how I feel about something. Well, you should say in your opinion. Isn't that obvious? It's in my opinion.
I mean, there was a
So
bunch
if-
of.
I mean,
I'm not speaking for
your,
you.
In your opinion, is Final Fantasy a guide game because you didn't find all the costumes in War Market?
That clock did like
Yes.
harping on Terrell.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
I knew this is gonna be a thing with you.
But Terrell gave his
yeah,
def.
I mean, Byleth wasn't that excited, we know. So yeah.
You weren't excited for
Fine.
Joker. I mean, we.
Oh, no, I fucking hated Joker.
Yeah, Hero. I mean, I thought Hero was a cool addition, but as far as excitement, like there was nothing.
Wasn't much excitement.
Basically Banjo was the only true exciting character for me.
Cried.
But
Although to be fair, I actually think that the reveal for Joker was cool.
yeah, the reveal was well done. I liked the animation style.
It was very what the fuck. That was like the whole
I would
vibe.
say as far as reveals,
Joker
like
then?
Byleth and Hero were both kind of. Byleth was the weakest for sure. Heroes was.
Bala will always be great for me only because I knew the reaction was coming. As soon as I saw him, I was like, "Yeah, that's gonna be the
Banjo's
damn 20
was the-
today. I'm getting off."
But Banjo, I mean, it's not even up for debate as far as hype level, excitement, and quality of the reveal. Like you couldn't top the
Also, to
double
be fair,
That
troll.
was great.
There's a
I
reason
will.
why.
I do actually think Terry's animated intro
That was
is
pretty
one of
cool
the best
too.
ones.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say
Right.
Terry's
The
is probably
8-bit
the
or
next
16-bit characters trying to grab
Well,
the.
it was all pulled from the games and just tweaked in some ways as well. But like just like stuff like seeing like geese plunged to a death. Like
Yeah, that was funny.
there's some good stuff in there.
It was
Really
funny,
good
even
stuff.
though I didn't have the context of it. I could still find the humor in that. But I never played the game. Well, I played the game like once. Which is
That's what I
anybody
wanted.
watch the Console Wars episode for Fatal Fury?
I haven't seen it yet.
It's just so
It's in my
interesting.
Oh, wait there, you linked this between the SNES and the Mega Drive.
Yeah, it's just so
Yeah.
interesting how these games just
I
look like
watched a bit of it.
they were developed completely from scratch for each system. It's just so weird to think that they did
Yeah.
that. And it's like,
Yeah, that was really cool.
They
I
always
noticed,
did
it's like, I mean, I'm not going to notice stuff like that. I always played the Mega Drive version, which I still got. But like the SNES backgrounds didn't animate, but the
No.
Mega Drive backgrounds animated.
Yeah.
And,
it's
you know,
just
super
weird
nice.
because then the SNES was cropped, and then like the health bar and timer took up so much of the screen. I'm like, why did they make these decisions? But then you hear like the Super Nintendo's audio, not in every song, but in a couple of them, it was like significantly better. The voice, the like shouts of the moves. But then you see like the cool credits and cinematics in the Sega version. It's like, why was that stuff missing? Like, why were they so different? It's just
Well,
crazy.
Super Nintendo has there's stuff that's better about each console. Like Super
Mhm.
Nintendo has a better dedicated sound chip made by Sony, and so a lot of times they could do more, complicated things that Sega couldn't do. But sometimes the Sega stuff sounded better to me.
Yeah, it
That's
wasn't.
what I
it's
liked
just-
about those consoles back then.
Yeah.
They both had such unique sounds. One, you could
Yeah.
prefer the Mega Drive sound, or you could prefer the SNES sound. But I mean, they were both so distinct and unique. I was like,
Yeah.
fucking love those two consoles, man. They were.
Yeah,
they both
Nintendo,
had their
like
own
you say,
flavor.
was always cropped because
It's like you'd barely hear anything like Star Fox on the Mega Drive, but then you would
No.
barely hear anything like Streets of Rage on
Nope.
the SNES.
Yeah.
And stuff. It was phenomenal. It was so good.
I always thought the Super NES hands down had better graphical capabilities, but then you see these comparisons and it's just not. It wasn't true.
Yeah, it
it didn't
depends.
have blast
It all-
processing,
it all-
man.
It definitely depended on the game. I mean, some games it was.
It all depends, yeah.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
the Genesis, or I'll just say Sega version
It-
had a consistent style, especially with like the Disney cartoon or animated movie games like Aladdin and stuff. Like, I think the Sega version looked better. Like, it's
It had a
just
faster clock.
Yo,
2
man,
years
the Mega
earlier
Drive
it came out,
version-
and it had a faster clock than the Super Nintendo
Yeah,
did.
the Mega Drive version of Aladdin graphically, in my opinion, pisses on the SNES version
It pisses. It totally does.
of Aladdin. But some people prefer the game of the SNES version over the Mega Drive version.
Who are these people? I need to
I
talk.
don't. I always prefer the Mega Drive. I always prefer the Mega Drive or Genesis.
Oh
version.
no, we got one. We got one in here.
Simply because I grew up with the Super Nintendo. I never
okay.
had a Mega Drive when I was younger.
Mm.
So I'm just more fond of that Aladdin. And it used to be one of my favorite games as a kid, even.
Yeah.
The gameplay was just so smooth. And I like the sound effects. So when later on I learned it was on the Mega Drive and I saw it, it just looked dirty to me. Because in my head, the Super Nintendo is how it should be.
Yeah.
So the Mega Drive, it's mainly just because of that, like nostalgia reasons. Well, I like it better because the other one just looks like.
What
goofy
about
to
the
me.
Jurassic
I
Park?
think for me, I had it as a Christmas present, and it was just like one of my biggest Christmas presents ever. And then I did get to play the SNES version. I think my friend had the SNES version,
Yeah.
and I always preferred the Mega Drive version, maybe just because that's the version I played and it's special to me. So
It's like Jurassic Park. Like Jurassic Park for Genesis, shit's all over.
The Super NES had that Wolfenstein bullshit.
Easy. Yeah, like
It was just like it was so impossibly hard. Both games were hard actually, but
Yeah.
All right, so the next question here is pretty. Not that we'll remember our answer, but Do you think Monster Hunter Rise will outperform Monster Hunter World? That's a tall order because World did really well.
And it was on multiple consoles.
And it's a multi-plat.
I don't think it will.
Well, also,
How
it has
much
to be
did World
also.
sell?
It's a world.
It was over 10 million as last I
It
heard.
could.
It was also supported throughout multiple years. I don't know how long they're going to support Rise.
I would think
when it's all
does
said and
something
done.
a little bit different with it, and I think that might entice even old Monster Hunter fans. And I think it possibly could do better.
Yeah, I think it could possibly do better, but I think even if it doesn't do better, it'll be pretty comparable because people are forgetting that Monster Hunter started on a port and Switch is portable.
Well,
and there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna love that, including myself, because you can do a lot of stuff off screen. You can in your free time.
You can play it from your bed.
Right, you can play it. You can lay back in your bed.
I don't know why you said it like that. The way it was weird.
That's how somebody else says it all the time.
Yeah.
I can lay back, relax in my bed.
I play it laying down.
You can't do that when you play on the TV. You can't lay back and.
You can't get comfortable in a recliner and play. You know. So there's no hard numbers. I thought I heard Monster Hunter Worlds was over 10 million on. But
I heard too.
I
thought
still
it was over 14 million.
I kind of think Rise in Japan alone could sell 10 million on Switch though, or honestly, or like 5 to 10. And I don't know how it'll do in the other regions, but I think it has a chance of coming close. I think it's gonna be huge.
The only reason I'm skeptical is because it's going back to the older formula, Monster Hunter look and formula. And I think one of the reasons why Monster Hunter World done so well was obviously the great graphical shift for the Western side, which is why it done so well this time around. I'm just more skeptical, really.
Why do you feel it goes back to the old shit? Because to me, it feels like it does some new shit considering the traversal.
Well, when I say the old Monster Hunter formula, I'm talking about the way you actually fight the monsters, the way you hunt the monsters, the way the tracking and items work, the way the game looks as well is massively different. It's more going back to Monster Hunter 4 and 3, whatever you want to call it.
That's true.
Than what Monster Hunter World is doing. Monster World is a different game. It is a different Monster Hunter game.
I think Japanese gamers will eat it up though.
Monster Hunter Casual World.
Damn.
Well, I think it's gonna be the big game for the month.
I looked it up. Apparently, Monster Hunter World sold about 15 million copies.
It's at 15 now.
Tough. That's tough to come up, yo. That's tough to pass.
Yeah, it's a big number.
But if anybody could do it, it could be the Switch with the way shit sells.
Yeah, but I can't see Monster Hunter being number 5 in the best-selling charts for Switch or whatever.
How much?
I'm not saying I don't believe it's going to do better, but I'm saying it's going to do pretty well for one
How much
console.
did Generations do on the Switch, the port?
Let's see.
More interesting would just be to see. Well, they kind of burnt out in Japan. They released like annual. So I think was it Monster Hunter 4?
Generations on Switch did a little bit, almost a million.
What about Monster Hunter 4 on the 3DS? I feel like that was the pinnacle, and then they released the Ultimate Edition in that.
I want to say 3 to 4.
The last I see is around 4 to 5 million.
Monster Hunter 4.
Generations on VG charts says 4.3.
Yeah,
because I swear there was they had a huge one of the ones on 3DS had a huge opening, like almost 2 million or 1.5 million. And
talking about
that would be.
But they didn't. But then
Generations on 3DS.
Yeah, it was on 3DS.
Generation.
But then they didn't release that version in the US. It came out and it was like an Ultimate or whatever. And then I don't think they combined the sales.
I thought that was 3 because 3.
No, 3 was out on the freaking Wii, dude. Like this was.
No, but I'm saying but there's 2 versions. It's like called it's Monster Hunter 3, and then there's Monster Hunter like 3 Ultimate. I thought, or maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, the Ultimate came on the Wii U. That was the other version I bought.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, because I don't know. I think
if you want to combine Monster Hunter 4 and Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, that's over 8 million.
All right, so not quite as
You
high as I
combine Monster
thought.
Hunter 4 and 4 Ultimate.
But it's the Switch, so you could probably double those numbers. And
That's the thing.
As long as they,
It was Switch, yo.
be updated, I think they'll be fine.
so who was it? One of us here who posted the screenshot of Anthem for $1, or was that just on Twitter?
I think it was.
I think it might have been on Twitter.
That was the final price.
Somebody found a sealed copy in store. I don't know what store had a yellow tag, and it was $1. And they said so much for this like
Crazy.
Probably Family Dollar.
hype game for
Damn.
Remember when this Xbox One X was announced, and then they're like, all right, we're gonna show BioWare's new game running on Xbox One X, and it was that fake ass Anthem with the voice, people chatting like
all
they're
that volumetric shit.
like they're, and then the game,
Yeah.
the actual world. I mean, they got the flying was in the final game, but what they showed basically, it was another Watch Dogs situation where it wasn't even close to the final product. And it's like, I just remember people being so excited for seeing that running on the Xbox One X, and then now it's just like, how does EA? How do they not learn? I mean, I know how, because we got bought out where I work by a big corporation, and they just keep doing the dumb mistakes over and over. Like they'll buy a company, then they'll force them to use a computer system, this out-of-date computer system that doesn't work for the business, and then they've had to sell businesses. They had to go back to their old computer system and lose millions of dollars because they keep trying to force this stupid shit. And it's like, I get it. Being a big corporation, there's just so many people involved that it's, dumb shit happens. But how do people still? I don't know when Anthem came out. Was it 2018?
No, it was last year.
Last year.
Last year?
Yeah.
Oh,
early
was
last
that
year.
last year?
How do they still think showing like bullshots is still the way to go? Like, it just boggles my mind.
Because the game ain't ready and you got no fucking choice. Bullshit.
Yeah, it came out January last year. Yeah.
Yeah, I said
That's
it?
it?
Early last year. I remember because that's
Well,
when
it's
I
almost
did
2
the
years
fucking-
now, right? You're talking about
Yeah,
January 2019?
Almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
January
Yeah.
29th.
Oh, we got a kitty show out or face off.
Uh-oh.
Y'all just but you can't see. Brett just blends in with his fucking
Yeah.
shirt, so you can see
Can't
it.
even see. He's got-
Mine's the cutest.
I just call him darkness.
Especially since he's filming on a potato.
Oh, fuck, get out of here! Put it down.
This cat, for the longest, didn't care to be on this desk. Now, every time I start playing Rocket League, or I was editing a video yesterday, and she's just like blocking the entire monitor. It's like, God damn it. But I still love her.
No.
She's still all right. She doesn't chew or
She's all-
scratch anything. She hasn't chewed up a single cord or anything. It's been almost a year. But anyway, one last thing. Kind of mentioned it. We were talking about the next gen and not being excited. We saw the first game running on Xbox Series X, or the first new game, I guess, a game that hasn't out yet. And it was Dirt 5, and it's a cross-gen game, so it's not the best representation, but it's just weird that was the first game. I know Clocked and I went back and forth a little
did
bit
you
on
see it,
Discord.
though?
Yeah, they actually have
That
footage.
just looks. I'm saying it. Did you see?
I mean, it
that?
looks
That's
good, but I didn't think it
Neat.
looked like an Xbox One X game to me. I mean, it didn't look like anything beyond. Wasn't some. It's not like, dude. Forza Horizon 4
It's that
on
pony
Xbox
you
One
talking that
X.
thing.
Forza Horizon 4 on Xbox One X looks as good as Dirt 5. The footage I saw, and that's an
Yeah,
open
I
world.
haven't watched it. I'm about to see it.
You.
I'm about to see it, yeah.
You should be better than that.
No.
Damn.
Especially since you the one that's all
Even
about
looking at the environment, it just.
Okay, no. Forza looks better than this.
I'm not
What
wowed
you
by
looking
it.
at it on?
But the thing that I was gonna
On
say,
IGN,
the thing I was
I'm
gonna
looking
say
at
is,
4K footage of it.
I'll give them some slack because this game's being developed for 8 different platforms at the same time. 4 versions of Xbox, 3 PlayStations, and PC. So I'll give them some slack.
4 versions.
That was the first time I looked at my. I watched a stream. That's not stream, but that's the first time I looked at it from YouTube on my television. Was like, whoa, because when
I'm looking at it on the monitor, yo.
when it comes together, no, then I went back and looked at it in higher definition. But when it caught my eye on my TV, usually that's a pretty good sign for me.
I mean, it has good. I like the colors. There's a lot of color pop, I will say, but
Yeah,
just
there's a lot of color.
it doesn't look like a massive leap over any racing game we've had. You know, like.
Yeah.
But either way, I think it's just
I think Forza Horizon 4 definitely.
I think it like, you know, Clark and I went back and forth a little bit, but it's like there's not a lot of people hyping for Dirt 5, like, and that to be, it's just a weird choice to be. That's the first game that we see running on the Series X. It's just kind of made me scratch my head a little bit, like, because honestly, I think Forza Horizon 4, whatever upgrades it's getting, I think it'll be right there with this game or even better, you know, because obviously, but it's just one.
It should be. It's first party game.
Yeah, it's first party. It's not a bad looking game. It's just, I don't know. It's just weird that it was this game of all the games. I would have never guessed, you know, Dirt 5 would have been the first one we saw.
Yeah, I think my only argument was, you know, initially where you called it, you know, a lesser tier game, and you know, I think in the realms of where we are in terms of in the realms of where we are in terms of you know, diversity in racing games. You know, the two games you brought up were, you know, Forza and Gran Turismo, and I fucking hate that. You know, because you know, I come from generations where these games were dedicated rally games were huge. When Colin McRae first came out, when Sega Rally first came out, when V Rally came out, when World Rally Championship came out, all these games, they were huge. And the reason why we're on number 5 is because they still have a fan base. Now, it is going to be, without a doubt, a better rally game than anything that Forza or Gran Turismo are going to throw at you, because it's a dedicated rally game from Codemasters. I would
caution that statement, because they specifically said in the interview that this is a more arcadey game for them. That's why the team that did Onrush.
Yeah, but no, see, so that's another derogative then to arcade games. Arcade games are fine.
Well, you just said it's a rally game. Like, it's not. This is an arcade racer with rally cars, and it's not your rally. It's not your World Rally Championship type rally game.
It's still rally racing though.
It's still rally racing, but
I mean,
it's like calling Sega Rally not a rally game or.
Well, I mean, but what I'm saying is this isn't
more arcadey stuff comes from like maybe it's not as intricate as. That's what they're talking about when
it doesn't make it a better game because it's more arcade. It doesn't make it a lesser tier game.
Makes it a better game.
Yeah, I think we're having a miscommunication.
In my opinion, it makes it a better game.
I also say, I think I sent the link that I think Need for Speed from, was it 20? What are we on? 2015. I think it looks better than Dirt 5. That's a really clean looking game, Need for Speed.
Yeah,
but the point I was getting about, you were saying,
Zaire thinks it looks like a 360 game.
You're talking about.
I guess I'm outnumbered.
You know, it's like it's like if we mentioned some games, like you know, if we mentioned, let's just say Mario Odyssey, right, and fucking what's it called, the bot game now on PlayStation 5 or whatever, Astrobot. You could argue that Astrobot graphically looks better than Mario Galaxy or some like Mario Odyssey or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make it a better game. You know, I'm just saying graphically
doesn't necessarily make it better.
Yeah, well, the whole point was.
I don't like the fact. I've never liked the fact now where we are is the Forza and Gran Turismo mentality, where these are meant to be at the top. It's like the FIFA mentality. Just because we've only got FIFA on the fucking market doesn't make it the best and more enjoyable.
Yeah, no, these Forza Forza
it's just
Horizon.
Well, I can tell you, as somebody who's played Forza Horizon 4, it has this type of racing, like a lot of different. There's a lot of different racing types, and it looks like Dirt actually has cars on a street too. It's not just dirt racing, which is weird.
You're missing a lot. I play Forza Horizon too, but rally racing is different. It is just different mechanically.
Well, this isn't the time trial stuff though. I mean, this looks like, to me, like a lot of what I played in Forza Horizon 4. A lot of the races I did were very similar to this, with the mud and the dirt.
I know what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't make Forza Horizon 4 with the
communication problems here.
and the only game that you should be playing. I'm saying this at the end of the day.
I wasn't even trying to make that point.
Yeah, a great racing game. Just because Forza Horizon tries to mix stuff up, it's like saying Burnout is the best motorbike racing game because it's got motorbikes in it.
No, I get annoyed as shit too when I hear people, "Oh man, Forza Horizon 4. I don't play those Forza motorsport games. I'm like, those are the fucking those are the epitome of the series. Playing that arcadey shit. Come play some real.
Either way,
racing over here.
I don't think there's much arguing that popularity-wise is what I meant when I said it's a lower tier of the racing games as far as popularity. That's all I was saying.
Yeah. So and then with the popularity thing as well. That's when I said there's another factor to it, because you have got the marketing, muscle power behind the Forzas, behind the Gran Turismos. But these games that still within the same genres don't have that marketing muscle behind them from these same people who will push their biggest selling games. Those games became the biggest selling games for various reasons. But it doesn't mean that these games can be just as good or.
Oh, this looks like a really fun racing game.
Doesn't make them lesser tier.
What's a better game, Monster Hunter World or Monster Hunter 4?
I don't know.
What's the better game? Quick,
and I've played them both.
I probably would like World more, but because I didn't like Monster Hunter Tri. But I mean, not to be confused here, like I think Dirt 5 looks like a really fun racing game. Like it was all like my favorite races from, not all of them, but most of my favorite races from Forza Horizon 4 looked a lot like the races in Dirt 5. So I mean, I would definitely enjoy this game playing it. I was just saying.
I know this wasn't your point earlier, Clotte, but I just want to say it. I think Mario Odyssey looks better than the Astro Bot game. Just saying.
Yeah, you can see what I've tried to do.
That's what you got to say after all this.
Yeah. As much as I complain about Mario Odyssey, that game is fucking gorgeous, and it looks definitely better than
It
the
is
Astro
gorgeous
Bot
though.
one.
I think I just get it's just another anger with the industry again, where all of my upper tier games were with the Ridge Racers, were the Sega Rallies, were the F-Zeros, were all these racing games that we loved, and they became, as you would say it, lesser tier, because the market rejected them for whatever reasons. Now, Ridge Racer 5 on the PS2 is still a phenomenal racing game, but then during that same era, Gran Turismo, we knew Gran Turismo took over. That was Sony abandoned Ridge Racer in terms of pushing it. Well, and they pushed Gran Turismo. Sorry, go on to you.
No, I was just gonna say sorry, Grandpa, but people don't want to sit there and be all intricate and learn different cars and different fields. They just want to press the A button and go and navigate. They don't even brake and shit. They just smash through everything, and then you can rewind if you fuck up. It's crazy.
Only a Nintendo guy would have said press A to go for a racing game.
That's a cool feature though, the whole rewinding.
Well, you know who created that? Codemasters in Grid Autosports or whatever, the first Grid.
What's that?
Yeah.
The rewind feature.
All right.
Because I know Clock did acted like that was the first time he'd ever seen it was 2018 when I uploaded a clip. And you were like, oh, look at those they had to put in a rewind feature. I'm like, yeah.
For you casuals.
That was 10 years ago.
The funny thing is, I played Grid in the arcades, and I've got Grid on the PS3.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't remember
that was its defining feature.
Yeah, that was in that one. Yeah, that's when they started it.
I don't remember it at all.
Maybe the PS3 couldn't handle it. Maybe it's only on the 360.
I didn't play it. I only played 360.
That was the best cockpit view. Like that was the biggest leap in like racing game for the cockpit view. That was the first time the cockpit view to me was a legit option, where you could see the dash and everything. Because I always
what other games done it after Grid then?
Just about everyone after that. I think every game
pretty much every game after Grid. It's like, oh, people like that.
It's nice, I used it a few times, and when I was in Horizon 4, when I took the racing part of it pretty serious. It was just the driving around the world, it was just fun to mess around. But the racing, I only did it like a few times when it was like something bullshit happened, and it wasn't just me being bad at the game. Like, I don't know, the AI bumped me or something, and I was just like, I ain't gonna do this 10-minute race over. I just back up 10 seconds or 5 seconds, and I'll not hit that wall this time. You know, you could easily abuse it, but you're playing it. It's for your own enjoyment. So if you feel it's fine using it, use it. If you don't, the option is there to never even use it once. Like Clock didn't even know it was in the game.
You don't want to use Funky Kong? Don't use Funky Kong.
I mean, I would like to play as Funky Kong, the character. The fact that he's the easy mode and it's like you can't get hurt makes it stupid. Like they should at least, this is off topic, but at least let you play as Funky Kong in the difficult mode. Like, I don't know why that's just a weird choice. But anyway, I think that's going to do it. I don't know where Terrell, he left us. He left us. But that's not what I'm
What is that
do.
From?
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Good call, Robert.
Did I say that? Dude, I say that all the time.
Yeah, I do too. Anytime somebody says that. He left us.
I love the
He left us. But that's not what I'm going to do.
And they're like, what?
It was really creepy how he said that to the
Alan.
That's not what I
Alan. The T-Rex. Or not the T-Rex, the Velociraptor dream.
Yeah, can somebody explain how the T-Rex walked over that gate and then, but when they fell down, they dropped like 30 feet?
I think it was more like 100 feet.
Or when
it looked like about an 80 to 100 foot drop. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because of the car. Yeah.
That's one of the worst continuity errors in movie
bad
history.
Continuity error. Yeah.
It's literally one of the worst.
This podcast is dying. Clock, that you want to insult Terrell once more?
Now let me ask this question.
I want to put this in context. You asked for more gaming videos. I put out a gaming video. And what did he proceed to do? He roasted me about the gaming video.
Terrell, let me ask you.
Ridiculous.
Listen, what I will say, I saw the topic header and I was like, that's a fucking great idea. And your whole conversation was awesome. I loved it. So
let me ask this question. Is that a popular term? I never heard anybody call a game a guide game. Or is that something Terrell made up?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think of it.
I've never heard anyone else say it. I've just said it because that's
what I thought.
Time I used it.
By your definition,
you coined a term, yo.
By your definition, I agreed with by the description of the games you said, and I said Xenoblade Chronicles X fits right in there because you there were some main missions where you had to obtain items. I didn't tell you where it might lead you in a general direction, but you didn't know what animal was dropping it or if it was just one of the random little diamonds you pick up. I don't know how many times I had to go on to the Wikipedia because it was out in Japan, a year before. Yeah, exactly. Where do I find this item? Oh, you go to this area on the cliffs or on this bridge and you just pick up the diamonds and then just respawn, and they're usually there. One out of the 4 or 5 diamonds is the one item you need, and it's like, how would you would never be able to find this in the game. It doesn't tell you have an item. You scroll through 500 different items to find the one. It doesn't tell you where you've picked it up, where you found it. So you might have one and you need another one and you have no idea where you found it. And you have to explore one of the biggest game worlds in the history of gaming and try to hopefully randomly find an item.
That was always a problem with Xenoblade games. I haven't played Torna, so I don't know if they fixed it in that. But it was always a problem with Xenoblade games until Xenoblade Chronicles remake came out where they completely fixed that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I still need to.
It's kind of a problem in Torna, but Torna is also a shorter game, so it's not as offensive.
I think a lot
how
of.
How long is Torna?
Torna's like
20-something hours, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 20 hours because the longest part of it is towards the end of it where they throw a bunch of side quests at you. That's like the
that's
problem.
A perfect place to put side quests right at the end of the game.
Oh no, I love everything else about Torna, but man, they railroad the fuck out you with them side quests towards the end of it. Now, granted, they all lead to something kind of cool, but that's all I'll say as far as.
Well, what if a person has the capabilities of finding everything, but they just choose to just go to a guide and go one at a time down and find and go to everything based off? Is it still a guide game if it's just them not wanting to play the game?
No. It's a game that you literally would have to go to another source to figure out how to do it. Like either the game doesn't give you enough information to know where to find said items or to do a certain task, or like it's never mentioned. Like, oh, there's the boss is behind this door, but you have to do something ridiculous in order to get the door open. And the game has like, go ahead.
Well, some people would feel that way about Zelda games, like Ocarina of Time, the Water Temple. Like some people just gave up when they got to the water.
Well, that was my only. That was going to be my argument in the chat about the definition of a guide game.
Yeah.
Because first of all, where have you gone for your source? if you've gone on game FAQs, then someone's worked it out. They had to put a guide on there themselves, so someone's already worked it out.
Well,
So
I think if
it's not technically a guide thing. What I would consider a guide game is going back to the old obscure stuff, like having to kneel down at the edge of the screen on Castlevania for
I
like
was
15
going to say
seconds.
Yeah.
Solomon's
to get a
Quest.
whirlwind. But
Yeah.
in terms of working out what monsters hold what items, I don't think that's a guide thing. That's a developer has made the game and they expect you to play nothing else but this game.
Yeah.
And you will spend all the time in the world playing that game, just like I did playing World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft didn't tell you everything. Yeah, World of Warcraft didn't tell you everything. You had to adventure and you had to work out what animals dropped, whatever. You just had to play the game.
Every quest.
I like, remember, Clark, that like we were playing the Borderlands 3 Halloween thing, and in the Halloween thing, you do another quest and you go to a Halloween world. In the Halloween world, you have 15 challenges you can complete. Clark and I rinsed that fucking level 4 times over, and there were 4 hidden bosses in that level. There were tasks for that. For the Halloween thing, and we couldn't fucking find it. I looked that shit up yesterday. They're not even in that Halloween world, but they're in the Halloween test. There's somewhere completely random in the world, and the game doesn't tell you. If I would not have looked that up, me and Clark would have fucking rinsed that shit for 2 fucking weeks straight, and we looked everywhere. We're not idiots. Those fucking things were not in that level, and if you wouldn't have looked it up, you never would have fucking known that, because the missions were in that DLC fucking level.
What? And it's one of those things where also there's different tiers of guide games. Like there are some games that you can beat the main story and not need a guide for. But like if you want to do some of the post game shit, you gotta look a guide up for.
Yeah, if you
Like,
want to fight,
go ahead.
I was gonna say in Xenoblade Chronicles X, if you want to get that amazing blade, so you can not blade, the sword, so you can fight like the everything without being in your skull, just solo. Like there's a really difficult cave that you have to. There's a that it like stuns you, and you have to know to put on the certain armor, the certain skills that counter this enemy's ability to stun you or whatever, or become. I forget. You had to put on like the ghost one where you ghost walk or whatever. It's like I would have never figured that out. I could have played that boss for a year straight, and I wouldn't have figured out how to beat him because. And yeah, that's somebody. Had to figure that out, but at the same time, the people that make these guides, they go into the game with that mindset. Like, this is an RPG. I played other Xenoblade games. I know that every item I get, I should write down where it's at, where I got it, in case it's important for some harder
and it's
stuff.
their job.
Yeah, and it's like, but the regular gamer's not going to find, like, there's no way I would ever find all the Korok seeds.
Never.
Breath of the Wild, even with the Korok mask, because I'm not going to sit there and walk and try everything and like, like there's just no way. But there are guides out there because I think people pooled their knowledge and just dedicated.
It's a lot. Yeah, it was a lot of cross
community thing.
But my main thing, at least the main point of that video, was more so like I used to look at being a guide game as a negative thing, and now I'm probably more conflicted about it because, like I said, in the video, the 2 main reasons why you would look up a guide is either A, it's something that's pissing you off and you just want to get through it and you need to figure out how to get through it, or B, you're super into the game and you want to do as much as you can in it, so you want to look up what else there is to do in the game. Yeah. So it's a very that's why I threw it out as a question, because I was like, I'm not sure where I lie on that, whether I view it as a bad thing or a good thing, because some of my favorite games are games that you need guides for. Unless you're going to spend like thousands of hours in the fucking game.
I've been there. I got primer guides. I bought the primer guide for Diablo 2. I got a primer guide, but for Final Fantasy 7. This was after I completed it and stuff. But sometimes you do just love a game so much that you don't technically want to spend the rest of your life playing it.
Yeah.
But you still want to enjoy all of the content that it has to offer. And if that is easier done by still having fun looking at a guide, and back then you had a nice book, with colors and pictures and stuff like that. You enjoy that experience as well. But I think all I was saying was some games will have, without a doubt, guide elements, but the bulk of the game itself is not a guide game. You know, so
Or in
I-
case like Robot, where every game is a guide game.
Wow. Whoa.
Link's Awakening was a
Whoa.
guide
Whoa.
game.
Wasn't Robot?
Nah.
Wasn't
Nah.
Robot the guy who at one point played a game and he like opened the guide was like the first thing he did and he literally played the game via the
What?
guide. I swear that was you at
No,
some point with a game.
no.
He did a lot of.
I don't. I don't. I
Yeah,
don't
you gonna throw somebody
You out
like
here.
that under the bus? You gotta have your facts together. You
You can't be out here exposing. That's
You be out here guessing. I think that was.
That's
I literally don't.
Yeah, that's a
I
hard
literally- yeah, no, I
accusation.
don't
You
have-
can't say
I
that
don't
shit.
know.
But Robert doesn't.
The only guys that I bought, were for Galaxy, because I love the game. I would take the guide and read it at school just to. I just enjoyed it that much, and then also 3D World, and then I remembered YouTube is a thing by then, and I didn't really need a guide. I love the game anyway, and it was a hardcover, it was all that kind of stuff. But I mean, I've had my troubles. Obviously, like I'd have to look up. I remember the Metroid Prime artifacts were a pain in the ass for me for some of them. Where I was like, how the fuck do you find any of these? Like, I feel like there was.
I didn't use a guide for that. I just
Yeah.
See, Robert
You
comes
just
from a
assume
different
that.
era.
No,
I
don't
was-
get me wrong. Like. No,
I
didn't have any problem.
Put it on the era.
I have no clue. I have no clue how I find some of them.
I have a ton of guides, but they're like supplemental. It's like, okay, I looked and clawed for everything I could look for. I'm at frustration point, so now I'm going to use the guide. I still have to pull it off, like
Yeah.
whatever the task is. But and it's not for every game. Some games I can go through and 100% them without a guide.
Same,
But
yeah.
I don't remember the
I can't.
artifacts being
So-
hard to find in Metroid Prime, though. I just don't recall that.
Dude, there was
and-
one
and
where literally.
They weren't really.
They were
Really?
clues as well and stuff. You know?
I think
But it was a
Robert.
different time when we played the game.
Yeah.
I have skipped a lot of shit. That might be what it was.
It's too easy
Yeah.
to find the answers today, and I know, Rob. No offense, you don't have the same principle when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like you don't have a problem looking up the solution.
No, I don't have zero.
To me, it's a last
I'm still
resort.
playing the game and I'm enjoying the game.
Yeah,
So,
well,
yeah, it is a
went
last
then.
resort for me. It is a last resort, but like, I like for instance, one of the I think it might have been
You did Link's Awakening,
the whole
like
Eagle's Tower. That shit was. I was like, because I was like, dude, what the fuck? And I was on there for so long, and then literally, you literally could not. You had to do one exact pattern of something I forget, and I was like, damn, what the? I'm like, you have no sort of leniency on something. And I was like, that shit is so
Dude,
annoying.
it was so
It was
much
so
easier
frustrating.
in the remake than the Game Boy version. All because of
Really?
how the game looked. So much easier.
Yeah,
So much easier
Yeah.
to
Way
understand the verticality and stuff. It was so much easier to understand.
Again, most of the games, I'm not sitting here. But if I get stuck, like I'm not gonna, I don't mind being like, all right, well, let me just look at real quick what the hell that is, and I'm like, all right, and then I just move on, and I still have fun playing that section, Like to me, it's like it doesn't really affect me. I mean, if I get stuck a lot, then I kind of like, all right, I kind of feel like something's going on. But I feel like the Metroid Prime, I think that's totally my fault. I think I didn't scan a lot. I think it's totally my fault.
I was streaming Eternal Darkness, and I was having trouble just getting to the first story. Like I couldn't remember what switch I had to hit to get to that first story, and it took me like 40 minutes. I'm like, I beat this game like 5 times. That stuff just happens sometimes, man. You just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Man.
can play a game and it's a few years later, and it's like I might as well have never played it because I had forgotten almost everything to
Yeah.
like. What's the solution?
Exactly.
I honestly, I stopped playing Breath of the Wild on PC just because when I installed my new hard drive, I didn't re-download it, and I'm not even sure how to get my save files and all that back. But I was kind of looking forward to seeing if I could find the shrines again without looking up. One of my biggest regrets was I saw the shrine with the Goron brothers test, the test of sitting on the hot pad or
Yeah.
whatever.
I like that one.
I just seen, I don't know, IGN or somebody that seen that clip, and I'm like, damn it, I haven't been there. I knew right where it was as soon as I seen the background and stuff. Like, fuck, I didn't have a chance to look for that shrine, so that one was spoiled. And then I got to a point where I had like 10 left, and I just glanced at a map of somebody else's screenshot or whatever, and I just kind of quickly compared it to mine, and I found one that way, and I was just like, well, as soon as I did that, I felt immediately guilty. Like, what the fuck, man? I've been playing this game forever. Like, why couldn't I just be a little more patient? And so 2 of them, I didn't find myself, but all the rest of them.
And the funny thing was, at the beginning was...
It's 120, yo. It's all right.
The buzzer started annoying people. Man, I hate this shrine buzzer. But then towards the end of the game...
It's your life.
Like, man, I heard some shrine buzzers.
yeah, I hadn't heard it in weeks.
That was like my thing in Breath of the Wild. Like, I needed one more shrine. And I went over the map several times at the end of the game. I just needed one more. I was like, fuck this shit. I'm going to look it up. And it was the first time where I was so glad I looked it up, because I put that fucking shrine tuner off instantly. That thing was... Because when you're playing the game, you don't have any shrine. That thing goes off all the fucking time. I'm like, I can't listen to this shit anymore. So I turned it off. And then near the end of the game, I was like, wait, there's this thing that can help me find the rest of the shrines. I still needed like 8 shrines. And I found 7 shrines with that thing. I couldn't find the last one. The reason I couldn't find it is because I used that hero map thing, whatever they call, that showed you exactly where you walked. And so to look for the shrines, I walked where I hadn't walked before.
Yeah, I did that too.
There's one area that had been completely mapped already, and I didn't go there. But the problem was I didn't have that tuner on, and the shrine I needed was in the middle of an area I had walked 100 times already, and it was just a little bit higher. So I'm so glad I fucking looked that thing up.
And that might have been a shrine I just stumbled across without even trying to find it, And it's like, for you, it was the last one. For me, it could have been like just one of the easiest ones I found. But I had no problem with the sensor thing, because I knew I didn't want to come back and try to scour all these places again. But I used that technique. I saw all the places I hadn't gone, and then I started there first, and I was finding shrines pretty consistently with that method. And then the last one was I just literally looked at the map and been everywhere else. I was like, all right, I haven't been over here much, so let me try over here, and just walked, and I heard bloop, bloop, and I was like, I got so excited. I just captured that moment, screenshot in video clip on the Switch. I was so happy. I still had to find it. It was just like, it was in the very, let's see, I think it was west. And where the fire dragon, what the hell is his name? Something with a D. Either way, he kind of flies through this like canal, like canyon.
Yeah.
And on the other side of that canyon, there's like the very edge of it, looking out at the world you can't go to, like the background. And there's just like there's like a metal, big old chunk of metal door or whatever. Thin metal, the bigger panels over a hole, and then you just moved it, and then there's a hole down there at the shrine. I would never have found it, just randomly. So I was just actively looking for it, and it was a rewarding feeling. I'm glad I didn't look it up, because it was very rewarding to find it. Just like the damn Leviathan in the ice cave. That took forever to find. I was like, I scoured everywhere. I'm like, why can't I see this thing? I'm up in the air, gliding everywhere. I'm like, why? I should be able to see this giant thing. The other 2 were easy to find. Never thought for a second it would be in a cave. Yeah. So either way,
I would say I only have one that pisses me off, that I'm mad that I had to look up. It was in Luigi's Mansion 3. It's the gym. It's the gym section, and it's the room that I think has the mats and has the mirror.
I had to look that up too.
I looked that one up too.
And it drove me nuts, because I was like, because when you look at the puzzle, my brain's like, okay, you just have to mirror it, right? And so I kept like pushing the mats open, and I thought
I didn't look that up. No.
And I thought it was really fucking specific of how the hell you're supposed to, how open the mat needs to be. And then I opened and I looked it up, and I realized, oh, it's inverted. And I was like, fuck. Because I sit there and experiment, and I thought I had tried every order. Nah, apparently not. So
I ain't look up shit in Luigi's Mansion.
That was the only thing I looked up. I know some people looked up the other stuff.
I looked up some gem stuff.
I didn't really look up things.
There was one. I think the one Juice. I think you saw me stream because I remember you commenting was the museum with the fucking
T-Rex.
yeah, the T-Rex skeleton. And I think that was
I
the
had
one
to
you
tell
said
it to use
you made-
Guiji because it just escaped your mind for some reason. It did the same thing to me in different parts of the game where I just forgot about
That happened to
Guiji.
me a couple
It's
times.
Yeah.
not
Oh yeah,
that you
Luigi.
forget
Duh.
about Luigi in that scene. You use him for one specific thing. The game never ever tells you, and you never ever use it again at that point.
No. Yeah,
There's other times
would-
you use him as a distraction, or Mario draws the attention, and then you use Guiji to
the
attack.
only other section I think that was really hard was the movie theater, not the movie, but the movie set section.
Oh,
like
that
certain
puzzle!
things-
So
Oh,
good.
that was.
I didn't look it up.
puzzle.
I'm glad I
It
didn't
was
look
so
it up,
good.
but it was.
I didn't look it up, but
Yeah,
I was
me
like,
too.
holy shit!
Some
It
of the
took.
best
I'm
puzzles
not
ever
sure.
designed.
I was stuck in that moment for a while
Because I didn't
was
think
like,
you could
what?
take. I didn't think you could take an item from one to the other. But
Yeah, it took
Yeah,
me a
my-
minute
and
to
it-
realize that you could do that. I'm like, oh, well, duh.
But that was like a big brain moment where you were like, oh
Yeah.
shit. And when you figured it out, it was great.
That shit was so good. That was one of my favorite puzzles. And
But I did get stuck on it for a while because I was sitting there experimenting. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed
some
to
of the
do?
Because at
gems.
some point you
threw
start
me.
thinking, but wait, why can't this from this room be in that room? So you start trying shit. And once
So
you
it's
figure
had to
it
do with
out,
a
and
bucket,
it's so
right?
good.
That was the first
Yeah.
part.
bucket.
The bucket.
Yeah. Once you figured that, I was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening. That was good stuff.
Very smart puzzle.
But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this up. Good discussion.
20 minutes later.
Yeah. Yeah, we went way past. So sorry about that. Sorry I clocked it. I know you're tired, but you know. And I
Fuck
don't
you,
know.
Retro.
I don't know if it wasn't popping up at first. It was weird how we didn't have hardly any viewers in the beginning. So I don't know what happened. Some people said it popped up for them notification wise. So who knows? But yeah, it's a good discussion, and we'll do it again next week.
They don't
See
really
ya.
care about us.